All right, everyone. Welcome to Live Breathe Film, episode 59. You're here with Corey, Doug, and Murph. Thanks as always for joining us. JP is currently suffering from a holiday hangover. He's sick, as we said. He will be back later on in January or February. We'll make sure there's always at least three of us here. That's something that our goal is going to be for 2022. We always tend to do it so if one person couldn't make it, we'd push an episode. But we want to let people to have little breaks and whatnot and keep the ship moving. But today we're going to discuss all the major films and shows from December. That includes things like Spider-Man No Way Home, the second half of Hawkeye, The Matrix Resurrections, etc. Before we get to that, let's just run through some news and the final results of our fall box office pool. All right, guys. I guess we're going straight to the box office since there weren't any exciting announcements to discuss recently. So as far as the box office goes, that was pretty exciting. As anyone who listened to our most recent episode knew, Doug had a massive lead. He was in first place. He had a $300 million lead on myself. I was in fourth place with about $30 million. You had like a $500 million lead on me.
Yeah.
I had $30 million with three of my movies. But I did have the ace in the hole, which is Spider-Man No Way Home, which blew past my expectations, frankly, and I think all of ours. There was always a little bit of risk with picking Spider-Man first, just because when we did pick it, it was September, and we had no idea how this winter was going to shape up with movies getting delayed. I mean, they still were getting delayed when we were doing the draft. But the movie did come out, and it has been massive. Through the New Year's weekend, which we said would be the ending point of our fall box office pool, Spider-Man had $614 million. So it's been doing very well. It's looking like it's going to end up being probably the third biggest movie of all time in North America. But as far as the time that we were covering, $614 million. Doug came in second place with $526 million. So, goddamn. That gives you an idea of just how well Spider-Man did.
Yeah, I was trying to go through it in my head, and I was like, was there a scenario that someone could have drafted that they beat Murph?
Oh, with like
once
any
you picked,
combination
or
movie?
like once you picked Spider-Man, was it just like over and we just didn't know it?
One person could have won if they versed the two stupidest people in the world, because I was interested in that as well.
Okay.
And after Spider-Man, $614 million, the next six highest grossing films combined made $859 million. So those films were, give me one sec here. They were Eternals, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Dune, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, No Time to Die, and the sixth one was Encanto. Doug, you actually had three of those six films that I just named. You had Eternals, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and Dune. Halloween Kills was actually the seventh biggest, which you had as well. Hence your performance being as good as it was. But yeah, even then, I probably would have gotten one of those six if the other two people knew absolutely nothing about movies and we were just picking randomly out of a hat. So yeah, it would have been very tough for anyone to win with any group of movies. Just to give an idea of my draft and how terrible it was outside of Spider-Man, I only had $717 million total. So only $103 million of my total came from five of my six movies. That was fucking awful. I don't think the three of you combined, if you took any of your five movies, your lowest five movies each, they were all significantly above $103 million. So my draft was horrible. I was just lucky enough to get the number one pick and took Spider-Man.
Yeah, it kind of felt like you just like I'm so confident in Spider-Man. I'm just gonna pick like the worst rest of the draft.
I wish I could say that was it, but I actually thought these movies were going to be successful.
No, some of them.
Yeah, I mean,
I would have
we talked
expected
about
to.
it.
Like they bombed. Like the Kings since our last episode. West Side Story completely bombed. It's gonna make like $30 million. Matrix Resurrections only at 30 something million dollars right now. The Kingsman similar around $30 million. Everything did bad with this holiday season, with the exception of Spider-Man and Sing 2. Corey had Sing 2, pulled in a decent, like I guess it was around 90 million bucks right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like I would have thought a Matrix movie would have done better than 30 mil, but it didn't even seem like it did very well on HBO Max. Lesson learned for me: don't take 3 HBO Max movies, because the 3 of them combined was about, what was it, 8 million, like 20 million and 30 million. It's about $60 million for my 3 HBO Max movies combined. So really bad. So yeah, we've talked enough about my draft. 717 million total, first place. Awesome. Just a stellar draft for me. Then we get into Doug in second place with 526 million. I was only joking. I had 5 bombs, 5 movies alone that combined for 103 million. Doug alone had 3 movies that had over 103 million each. No real bombs at all. I mean, you could say Ron's Gone Wrong didn't do that great.
That felt like a bomb.
I think it did. I'd say it met expectations. I would never have thought that movie was going to make money. And I would say The French Dispatch underperformed a little bit, but ultimately you had an independent movie that made more than fucking a lot of the movies that me, Corey, and JP drafted. So ultimately, you had by far the best draft, Doug. I really do believe like you were the real winner of this. It's just Spider-Man.
A well-rounded group of movies.
Exactly.
Well-rounded picks.
Yeah.
Meaningless though, because you're the winner of the AMC gift card.
This is true.
It was such a...
But it is what it is.
But I'm glad I've earned your respect, Murph.
Oh, of course. And we'll see how the spring shapes up when we draft our movies for February through April. Then we've got Corey in third place with 394 million. If it was going on a few more weeks with the money Sing's making, probably would have gotten within maybe 50 million of Doug. Mostly off the back of Venom, Let There Be Carnage. That was the second biggest movie that anyone had this fall. So Sony had the number 1 and number 2 movies. Since we last talked, Corey had Sing 2, which we said performed pretty well. It's going to be making over 100 mil. And then he also had Nightmare Alley, another adult drama that absolutely bombed. That one was like on a reminiscence type of performance, like real fucking bad. But I mean, as you know, I mean, let's see, we had Many Saints of Newark, King Richard, West Side Story, French Dispatch, Last Night in Soho, Nightmare Alley, Resident Evil, Antlers, The Last Duel, all fucking bombs. So really, most things targeted to adults just bombed, with the exception of House of Gucci, which JP had.
That was surprising to me, that House of Gucci did as well as it did. I thought it was going to bomb
think
too.
it just played a little younger with Lady Gaga being the star of the movie.
I think she just pulled in people.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely wasn't like Adam Driver or Al Pacino. Like they were pulling in people in 2021. So it was absolutely Gaga.
Yeah, I mean, Last Duel proves it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that starred Adam Driver.
Two Ridley Scott, Adam Driver movies. One without Gaga, under $10 million gross. The other one with Gaga, over 50 million. Then we had JP in fourth place with 329 million. his number one movie was No Time to Die. Did a little bit less than we would have hoped for. Again, adult skewing. The Last Duel in Antlers didn't perform. Encanto has done pretty solid. If it didn't have that Disney Plus premiere on Christmas, probably would have made some more over the holidays. House Gucci, like we said, did well. And then Licorice Pizza still hasn't fully expanded yet. Definitely not a bomb. Doing well for an independent movie, but they're slowly going to be expanding that one even longer than expected because of Omicron. So that one probably won't get to its full theater count until February after like Oscar nominations have come out.
Is it showing more in more than 2 theaters at this point?
Yes.
Did they expand it?
Yeah,
they expanded it on Christmas Day. It's like, I don't know, 700 theaters.
Oh, wow. So that was a big expansion.
Yeah. They had intended to expand it more the following week, but they canceled those plans because of COVID, and they'll be pushing it more over the next couple months. So it seems like it's going to be like a
slow burn.
Yeah, it should probably end up making more than like French Dispatch and be the biggest independent movie of the or specialty type movie of the fall, but it's going to take a while to get there.
Yeah, I thought the when they were doing like the per theater average and they were like breaking all sorts of records, but it was like 2 theaters. It was kind of like goofy.
Yeah. So
that's interesting to hear it's doing well at 700.
Yeah, no, for the type of movie it is, it's definitely doing pretty well. I don't want to call it a bomb because it has similar amounts of money to the bombs that we've been discussing, but seems like at the most it'll be like a pretty successful independent movie. But yeah, so just to recap, JP in 4th place with 329, Corey in 3rd place with 394, Doug in 2nd place with 526, and myself in 1st place with 717. 614 of that from Spider-Man. I have to emphasize that. So yeah, we'll draft.
Yeah, fucking. I just like picture for your draft, like you're just like drowning, and then fucking Spider-Man comes and swings in. And, like,
basically, I was falling off a fucking tower, and Spider-Man came in and swooped in and saved me at the very end. That's how my performance went this fall.
But not Gwen Stacy save, like a real
legit like MJ type save. But yeah, I think the spring will be a lot closer. There's not going to be anything that does the numbers that Spider-Man does. I think we'd be lucky for one movie to do half the number that Spider-Man has done. I see it more as like a Venom, Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi type number for like the 1st place movie. But hopefully we'll get some surprises, and we'll draft later this month since there's nothing opening in January, with the exception of Scream, which comes out next week. The reason being, as we go to release dates, is because Morbius was delayed once again. It has officially surpassed the New Mutants for the most number of delays for a superhero movie over the pandemic.
So wow!
Congratulations, Morbius.
It doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't feel like it because New Mutants was originally delayed like prior to the pandemic, so
it had to have been delayed. Feel. New Mutants felt like it was like years had gone by.
Years have gone by for Morbius. Morbius was supposed to come out the summer of 2020.
Now, has Morbius passed Top Gun Maverick yet?
As far as its delay goes, no.
Yes.
Top Gun's still more significant. And Top Gun's trailer came out so much longer than Morbius's that it's definitely worse. Top Gun and Minions 2 have been like the craziest like delays because they were like a full solid 2 years each.
This delay makes no sense to me. Like the only thing I could think of is because they're just trying to distance it as much away from Spider-Man to try to make as much money as possible. Like, why would they delay it again? It's not a big enough movie that they need to like move it out of the...
I think it's just to keep Spider-Man on the IMAX screens and stuff like that longer. And so then weird. They can put it in
also IMAX. Kind of, you got COVID again. I mean, Spider-Man's kind of the outlier to the box office, I think. because
Morbius
Spider
isn't
Man.
gonna-
And now Sony can go from one Tom Holland movie to another. Like they have Uncharted coming out in February, so they can just
Yeah,
go
that's
straight from
true.
Spider-Man to Uncharted, and then back to their safer Marvel movie in April.
He's their new ace in the hole.
We'll see.
Tom
I
Holland.
mean, I've seen comparisons to this being like Spider-Man being like Titanic and Uncharted potentially being like the Man in the Iron Mask, where just like the same, like Leo was in both those movies in 1997, 98, and now you got Tom Holland
Yeah.
in these two in 2021, 2022, and maybe the success of Titanic and Spider-Man will lift
Yeah.
Uncharted
No way.
like it
I
lifted
mean-
Man in the Iron Mask.
Uncharted looks like garbage, so they need all the help they can get.
They do. They definitely need help.
I don't think this movie makes money.
Uncharted, you're talking about, or Morbius?
Yeah, Uncharted.
Yeah.
I mean, I was wrong about Venom, so it could be another fucking Venom where there's just the movie's not going to be good, so it's just going to be whether or not people flock to the goofiness of Uncharted.
I think they'll see it just because it's in the world of Spider-Man and Venom. Like,
Mhm.
I don't mean it's not going to make the money that Venom did. Maybe it'll probably make like half the money Venom did, but I could see it making around $100 million, maybe a little bit more. And it's it's a good movie to kind of be a buffer in between the Batman and Doctor Strange, which are like the two mega comic book movies of the first 6 months of the year. So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see who drafts it soon enough.
Hopefully not me.
And then we have John Wick Chapter 4, which nobody will be drafting this year as it's basically been pushed back an entire year. It was supposed to be opening in May of this year. It'll now be opening in April of 2023. So I guess it was dated basically opposite Top Gun. I'm not sure if they needed to leave a whole year because of Top Gun, or if they just thought next April was just like too good to be true. Because I think Fast and Furious was originally going to be in April and then moved to May. So maybe they just wanted to get into that slot, but it gives a break in between the unfortunate stink that is Matrix Resurrections as far as box office, and then Keanu doing this one, his signature franchise at this point, of the 2010s, 2020s.
Has Top Gun not come out yet?
No.
Nope.
Okay,
What
I
is
don't
it,
know why.
June?
For some reason, I just thought it was out a while ago.
Nah, Top Gun doesn't come out till Memorial Day. We still got a ways to go for it.
That's so insane.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
When we started going back to AMC, I don't know, last summer, summer of 2021, they had Top Gun, all their Top Gun cups that had the release date of
Yeah, I
June
remember that.
2020. Now they're already out of those. So they have to make all new cups for May of 2022.
I think it would be
Before
funny
this
if they
summer.
white outed the date and just
Yeah,
put the new date on the cup.
Yeah, that would be
Well,
fun.
now at AMC, the cups don't have anything. They're just white cups now. They don't even have
they've
any
given up on
advertisements.
branding.
I mean, it's
hard out
Saving
there.
a couple bucks, I guess.
yeah. I mean, there have been so many pushbacks and delays and stuff. I'm sure they've gotten screwed on those cups quite a bit.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to start our first episode of 2022 talking about another COVID delay. I thought we were past that, but apparently not. Hopefully this will be the only one of the year. We should know in the next couple of weeks if that's the case.
So
even day and dates are pretty much done at this point. The HBO Max strategy is over with from 2021. I believe the only one coming up is that new Owen Wilson, Jennifer Lopez movie, Marry Me, that opens on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
That one's on Peacock and in theaters. But I don't think anything else has a day and date release this year.
I heard they were switching to once the theatrical window is over, that they'll go to HBO Max.
So
So I don't know if
yeah,
they're just.
I think HBO has a 45-day theatrical window, or
So they
Warner
may.
Brothers does, similar to um, Paramount with Paramount Plus.
It may not be a bad deal still if you can get like the VOD, because those are like $20 a pop. So
Yeah, yeah, it'll
it's
be very interesting to see how this year does in comparison to last year with the fluctuations and how uh, studios are releasing these films. But let's move on to trailers. We've got two superhero movies to talk about right now. We just mentioned them. We've got the Batman and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. When we talk Strange, we'll leave out Spider-Man stuff and just strictly talk the trailer. Um, let's talk the Batman first. We got what's probably our final trailer for the film, which kind of came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting, like, on some random day for a new Batman trailer to just drop. But what did you think about
Yeah.
this latest one, which is primarily focused on Selena Kyle and Batman?
I personally liked it more than the second trailer. I didn't like it as much as the first one, but I definitely liked it more than the second one. Definitely got me more excited again. It I liked how they fleshed out a lot of things, and it seems like it's going to be a wild film.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think the tone looks right from the trailer. Like, I guess that's something that has been fairly consistent throughout the trailers, but it's got that um, Seven vibe to it that's kind of been consistent throughout all the trailers. Um, I thought we got to see a little bit more of the Riddler, um, which still looks awesome. I think I'm probably done seeing Riddler footage at this point because I think I don't want any more to be spoiled about him, but they definitely showed enough to be excited about. Pattinson looks cool from what we've seen as Batman. I'm not sure if I don't know if we've seen a lot of his Bruce Wayne. His Bruce Wayne still kind of looks like a little emo-y to me.
Mm-hmm.
So hoping that
He looks more Tim Burton than like Michael Keaton did in like the Batman movies, in like an actual Tim
yeah,
Burton movie. Like
he's
he could
very
be,
pale.
yeah, he's very pale. He's like Edward Scissorhands, like Sleepy Hollow type look.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see how the Bruce Wayne plays out. I always liked Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but overall, I really liked it. I thought the dynamic between Catwoman and Batman looked actually well done. It looks a lot better than what we got in the Christopher Nolan movie. Um, it felt a lot more like Batman and Catwoman, and that kind of like
Their interplay.
yeah, their interplay and their relationship, and I
Yeah,
don't know. I'm excited for it. I think it looks cool. But I think that's our last trailer, right? Or do we still have a third trailer?
that has to be the last one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. Like, I'm excited about it. I saw enough that um, it got me intrigued and interested. I mean, any one of us would have all they had to do was say there was a new Batman movie coming out, and we would have gone and seen it. So they didn't really have to do much to sell us. But I think it looks cool. I'm
Yeah,
excited about it.
I watched it once, and I don't really want to watch it again. Like, I don't want to like sit there and analyze it. So I think I'm good at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you in the fact that I liked it more than the second trailer. It's still not as much as the first one.
Yeah.
That was the I think it was just the whole like excitement of seeing what this world is going to look like that just beats the rest of them. Um, I only watched the trailer maybe twice, three times. Like I didn't find it to be like a trailer that you like just want to go back and watch again and again and again. Not because I'm like worried about like catching too many things, but I don't know. It just didn't have like it didn't flow as well as some other trailers that it just feels like you need to go back and watch it again. So I'm excited for the film. In a way, I was not for the like Batman versus Superman film, but I'm definitely like nowhere near as excited as I was for the entire Nolan trilogy.
Yeah.
Maybe part of it might just be the fact that I'm older now, and the versus being in high school and college and grad school. Yeah, when those other three came out.
Yeah.
But
I don't think that's it.
you don't think that's it?
No, think about like with the Spider-Man trailer, how many times you went back and watched the trailer for that movie.
That's true.
Yeah, Doug's
All
right,
that's
I
true.
guess. Yeah.
We're still like, there's still trailers that get us super excited, and we go back and watch it a million times.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't think we
that first one I did watch a lot, like the one that the fandom during summer of 2020. Like I watched that trailer a lot. I think they might have sucked me in with that Nirvana song though.
Yeah,
and that got me to watch it as many times as I did. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna see this fucking the moment it comes out. I think I'll like it. I think some of it looks a little too similar to the Nolan movies, like the vibe and stuff like that. But it's the Seven aspect, like aesthetic of it, definitely looks really cool. I just watched Seven again a week or so ago, so I'm all into that vibe right now. Hopefully, we'll get a head in the box or something crazy. But yeah, that's I don't know. I don't really have too much else to say about this movie until it comes out. I think I'd like to not be too much, not be spoiled much more than the things we've seen so far.
I think the trailers also have been pretty safe. Like I mean, we'll see if it's safe because they don't want to reveal a lot, or just safe trailers with how they're constructed. So I think that might be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I mean the cinematography, the movies look really beautiful, or movie looks beautiful, and there was also the Batmobile, or if it ends up being called the Batmobile, that it looks like vicious as hell, like way more vicious than any of his other vehicles, even more ridiculous in a way than the Tumbler. I mean, the Tumbler wasn't really a Batmobile, but like in terms of just carnage, and like he just seems like he doesn't give a fuck. Like he's just going to, if he needs to go and take out X person, like he's gonna do whatever he can to, you know, take them out. Like some of those new shots in the new trailer, like I was like, holy crap, this car like is terrifying.
I heard an interview where Matt Reeves said that he wanted the car to feel like its own character, and that they wanted it to feel like it had like this horror element to it. So it sounds like mission accomplished for kind of the vibe you were getting, Corey. But
yeah, it seems like very intimidating. Like it seems like Pattinson's character, at least in this film, is very unhinged, which is good. Like early Batman, Bruce Wayne, where he has more or less no rules. He, is gonna basically use his body in any way, for vengeance, for whatever he needs to do, whatever his goals are. So it seems like they're like really going to an extreme with that aspect. So that'll be cool if they like really. I mean, I don't know. Do we know what the rating for this movie is going to be yet? Is it going to be rated R?
I don't think it's come out yet.
It would be surprising if they went rated R.
I mean, if it ends up being rated R, then that will really be surprising. Like that'll.
I don't think it will be.
Hard PG-13, I guess. It just seems like it's going.
I mean,
to be
how much harder of PG-13 can you like get than the PG-13 movies we've already seen already? They're just fucking slipping money under the table. To, like,
yeah,
if it's much harder than some of the PG-13s we've already seen over the years. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I could see it going either way. I don't think they're scared of R ratings based on like the Joker and Deadpool and all these other movies that have been real big fucking hits with an R rating. Logan. But I also can see them being like, well, this is Batman. This is supposed to be our biggest thing. We can't risk it. So we'll find out very soon. Like we have to find out this month what it is.
I feel pretty confident in PG-13, but I could be wrong. I don't think for a Batman movie that this is the movie that they want to.
It just seems like it's so geared towards, adults. Like obviously they want kids to see it. They're going to sell toys. There's toys that have been leaking all over the place. But it, Legos, it just from the trailers, the tone seems
Yeah, I
like
mean, what
real
parents going to
dark.
take young kids aren't going to be seeing this movie even if it's PG
Oh,
13 based on these
yeah.
trailers. Like,
No way.
I can't imagine. I mean, maybe I guess things were very lax when we were kids because I mean, Tim Burton movies were pretty like intense, and we were seeing those when we were like 6, 7 years old. So, I mean, I guess maybe we would still be seeing them, but
But those were fantastical in a way. Like this movie's like real just based in reality, it seems, like it seems like more like a mystery type of drama, like Seven, like you said, than anything.
yeah,
So
yeah, no,
it's
it
gonna
does
be
have a
interesting.
different attitude about it. So, well, yeah, we'll see. And like they do have their other Batman with Michael Keaton to do well with kids, like in the Flash and Batgirl and stuff. So like they could do an adult one, and they could do the one geared towards everyone later in the year. But we'll see. Let's talk Doctor Strange. So it's the same trailer that we got at the end of Spider-Man: No Way Home during the post credits. It's another one that I've only watched a couple times. But yeah, I don't know I don't know which one I'm more excited. No, I'm more excited about Batman, but I'm still very excited about Doctor Strange. From what we've seen, digging like the look that Sam Raimi's done. Definitely looks darker than the first one, and I imagine this is the approach Scott Derrickson was going to go. Maybe not exactly the same, but definitely looks darker. I think it's a poorly cut trailer, and that's the reason why I'm not going back to watch it. It doesn't really feel like a trailer. It feels like that scene where Wanda and Strange are just talking. Feels like really out of place for a trailer.
Yeah.
It just seems like a scene was just thrown in the middle of it.
Yeah, it's weird because
It
they should have the footage to cut a better trailer. You would expect at this point.
Yeah,
it seems like they couldn't decide if they wanted it to be like an end credit scene type of structure or if they wanted it to be a trailer. So they
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
did a
yeah,
little bit of
yeah.
both.
I agree with you about that. They just went a
Because it
weird route in the
led
fact
into a trailer.
they went the end credits part in the middle of the trailer versus starting it at the very top. Similar to like Fury going in and talking to Steve Rogers in the gym at the end of Avengers, which led to a trailer for the Avengers.
Yeah. No, you're right.
What was weird about it too is like when you had those moments, like a character like Nick Fury coming in and saying to Iron Man, like, "Here to tell you about the Avengers initiative." Like it's like a dramatic moment where you're like, "Holy shit!" Like these two characters are talking about something crazy, and this is gonna be amazing. And having it in the middle of the trailer and like the way it was presented, it was just kind of like, oh yeah, like Doctor Strange and Wanda are talking about the multiverse, like whatever.
Yeah, just casual,
It's
casual
like-
conversation. Oh yeah, like you did some bad shit during WandaVision. Okay, whatevs. Tell me about the multiverse.
yeah, it was just like there was no, it wasn't dramatic at all, and it wasn't like, oh shit, like these two characters are gonna have a movie together. That's gonna be crazy. It was just kind of like, all
The
right,
latter half of the trailer got me though. Like the last maybe like minute, 45 seconds, I guess. I was getting amped because I just seeing some returning characters and stuff. So I'm excited for that movie.
so are we? We're so is the villain evil Doctor Strange?
Probably Mordo and Evil Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Mordo and what is it? The Strange Supreme. I think that's his name. That's the evil Doctor Strange, if I remember that character. But yeah,
He looked a
our,
lot
our
like
Mordo,
the
definitely.
he looked a lot like the character from What If.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the character design looked like almost identical to the What If character. So I'm like, are we getting the What If guy?
People are speculating. I mean, I haven't seen What If yet. I haven't watched it, but they're speculating it's the same character. Like
Which I liked that episode, and Murph did not like that episode. So,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting.
My problem with the episode wasn't like bad Doctor Strange though.
Yeah,
my problem
that's
with the
true.
episode had more with like led to bad Doctor Strange.
Can I say, I think none of you guys have seen The Power of the Dog yet, right?
No.
So Benedict Cumberbatch is basically a villain throughout the entire movie and just like a horrible human being. And he's a really good job of being like a shitty person and a shitty like and a villain. So it got me kind of excited for evil Doctor Strange because I feel like he could crush it.
Yeah, he has the range to do that for sure.
But you never really see him take that type of role, so it's interesting seeing him be the bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I think it's gonna be fun. I
he
think
could kill it.
seeing him in that type of role. And I mean, we know they're doing reshoots. They're going to make this movie more fan servicey and bring in more characters. Maybe that was part of the reason why the trailer was like not a primary focus for them and was a little bit sloppy because they clearly have more important things to be worrying about right now.
That was kind of lame to me when I heard about that. It's like, really? Because Spider-Man did so well, like you're gonna start implementing like other characters.
We are in the era of fan service.
Yeah. I mean, Spider-Man did it probably the best that I've ever seen. Like it was nostalgic, but like done well. It wasn't cringy at all.
Story, so that's the difference. Yeah. Does something serve the story, or is it just being done to fucking make people fucking point at the screen like Leonardo DiCaprio and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming the way that they're gonna do it is it's the multiverse of madness. So they'll like have like 5 seconds where they hop into like a multiverse that has like, oh cool, it's this character that we've all wanted to see, and then 5 more seconds of like, oh wow, there was this other. And I think it's gonna be probably like that. And
there's
it's kind of a little cheap.
Mm-hmm. There's Venom.
Maybe.
See Tom Hardy walking around being doofy like he does.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Tom Holland's in this movie. Like somebody at Sony kind of hinted that his next MCU appearance was sooner than we think. So I could definitely see him being in this one over Thor or Black Panther or those are the only other two this year.
What about Morbius?
Yeah. I mean, that would be very surprising. But yeah,
what world do we know where Morbius is? Even like what world?
No, and that's Murph what's fucking annoying about this movie.
Yeah, Murph and I were talking about.
I don't think they even know what it's in.
Yeah,
it's gotten so convoluted
no now.
They fucked it up by like pulling Tom. We'll talk more about that with.
Yeah, we'll talk about how they fucked up.
No Way Home.
I don't think Sony knows what the hell they're doing though, and it's like
I don't
fucking
think
House of Cards.
It also could be a situation where like there were original when Morbius was supposed to come out before like 5 of these other movies.
That is true.
So like it's possible things just changed after they filmed all this.
And they were just like, "Fuck it, what are we gonna?"
They're like, "How do we do with it? Like, how do we deal with this?" Like Morbius was supposed to come out before Venom, No Way Home, WandaVision, fucking like half of these fucking Disney Plus shows, like all of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they might just be cutting, their losses at this point.
Yeah.
They're not going to do reshoots, like it's.
Yeah, I have a sense, and we can talk about it more when we get to Spider-Man, but that Sony had a plan, and that plan like blew up in their face, and
yeah,
I don't know.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we'll get into it more when we get to our Spider-Man discussion.
I'd be remiss, I guess, if I don't believe in our last episode we talked about Spider-Man Across the Universe Part 1.
No, we didn't. I don't think the trailer came out.
I think the trailer came out the weekend after.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have to touch upon it real quick. Sure. Since the first one's like Doug's favorite movie of all time. So, Doug, what'd you think? We are getting a 2-part sequel. That was an exciting surprise.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm glad they're doing it because I know it takes them so long to animate these things and pull them together. So the fact that they're doing them both at the same, I imagine they're doing them both at the same time, and they're just splitting it into 2 parts.
Yes. They're coming out a year apart.
Yeah, so like that's only possible if you're working on both at the same time with how long these movies take. So that's cool that we get, and it's probably going to be like one badass story over 2 parts. They didn't show a lot in the I guess it seemed like a teaser. They didn't show a lot. What we do know is it seemed like this took place because there's an after the credits in Spider-Man, um, where Spider Gwen, um, communicates to Miles
Oh yeah, that
through
was the
like a
very end of
portal.
the yeah, that was the very end of the movie.
And time had clearly passed since like the big fight that Miles was in, but it looks like this movie's taking place right at that moment
Mm-hmm.
where she's talking to Miles through this like portal, and then it looks like it's like Spider-Man Multiverse of Madness because they're just instead of like everybody coming to him, it looks like Miles is going to the different multiverses this time.
Yeah,
Which is
and
a cool concept. I mean, they didn't have to show a lot for me, and they didn't show a lot, but I'm excited for it. I think
we know he's going to be dealing with Spider-Man 2099, who was in the post credits of Into
which
the
I don't really know
Spider-Verse.
anything about him.
Yeah, I don't
He's like
either.
Miguel somebody or something.
And Oscar Isaac's reprising the role from his post credit scene. We know he's in it. We know Spider Woman's going to be in it. I believe Issa Rae is playing her. We know Peter B. Parker's coming back. We know Spider Gwen's coming back, and obviously Miles. And that I believe is all we know right now.
Yeah, I wonder if Mulaney would have been in rehab and unable to do like the Spider Pig. No,
he definitely could do it.
Okay. Interesting. And then Nick Cage.
I mean, it's totally possible that both of them come back, and they just haven't like announced them.
Yeah, and I could see them being maybe like smaller roles or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm excited for it. Once again, we'll talk about it more, but I don't think the latest Spider-Man movie would be possible without Into the Spider-Verse paving the way. And
yeah, they basically did a live-action remake of Spider-Verse. Within like 3 years, because of how well received Into the Spider-Verse was.
There's a really powerful scene in Into the Spider-Verse that's also really powerful in the newest Spider-Man movie that you could tell they borrowed it from the prior movie. And I'll talk about it more when we get there, but cool. I'm excited. I'm excited for the movie. It didn't show a lot. I don't think it had to show a lot. I think a lot of people consider this, including myself, to be one of the best Spider-Man movies, one of the best superhero movies, and I'm excited about it.
All right. Coming out this October, and we will definitely talk about it a lot more this year. Before we get into the feature presentation, which is covering December movies and shows, let's talk about a couple things that have dropped very recently, like the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett, and then the Harry Potter 20th anniversary special, which dropped on New Year's Day. Let's start with Harry Potter, since that was a fully formed special. All three of us have watched it. I believe all three of us watched basically everything we're covering today. Unless, Corey, have you watched Cobra Kai Season 4 yet?
I did not.
You son of a bitch.
I know.
All right, well, Doug and I will talk about that one alone. And we'll start our feature with that. But Harry Potter. It was cool seeing everyone come back. It was a well-made special. I thought having them on like the sets was a really neat touch. Not having like every cast member together, like having them in their own like smaller groups made the conversations feel a little bit more intimate versus just everyone being on a stage all at once and kind of the majority of the cast just sitting there while they're talking to like Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, and Daniel Radcliffe. So I thought this was a better way of doing it.
Maybe. I thought it would have been cool to have them all together at some point, which they never did.
No, other than showing them like talking to each other, like at the beginning, like all going up and like hugging each other and things like that.
Yeah, I was expecting them to all, or at least most of the characters, to have like a moment in like an interview setting together.
It might have been hard with like COVID.
It probably was COVID related. And we all know they're going to be coming back together in another decade to do Cursed Child. Like movie adaptation of that. So they'll all be together in due time.
They're old enough now though to do Cursed Child. Like they're all old enough to have like kids that age, right?
Now, Cursed Child takes place 19 years after the last movie, so we still got like a decade to go.
But they're older than their characters are supposed to be.
They're a little bit older. So, all right, if it was 19 years and they're supposed to be 17 in the last book, then they would need to be 36 years old now, and we're not even 36 years old.
I don't think they're that much younger than us, though, are they?
3 years, probably.
Yeah, they're not that much older, not that much younger.
Daniel Radcliffe is 32, so
another 4 years,
which is wild.
And they also need to they need to finish the Fantastic Beasts movies before they touch this one.
I don't think it. I think Warner Brothers is going to cut their losses on this last Fantastic Beasts. I just like this. I feel like Fantastic Beasts is dying a slow death.
That's what I said to Murph. It's gonna. What's gonna
Murph? I can tell like Murph disagrees.
It's not. They're not going to end it on the third one. But they might drop it from 5 to 4 if this one does really bad. But they will make at least one more after this one.
This one will.
Unless this one's really good, because I just think word's gotten out that these movies haven't been the greatest.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, there's reasons why they're not going to just like fucking drop it at the third one. Because this one definitely isn't going to be. It's very incomplete if their plan is to do 5 and they just stop at 3. That would hurt it in regards to all the like long-term revenue that from streaming and everything like that, and the fact that it's an incomplete story. They're not going to want to burn the bridges with J.K. Rowling, considering she's writing all these ones herself. Like, really, like means something to her. Even if she's a polarizing figure, like she can make things very difficult for any of the people any of your partners in regards to like the wizarding world. And again, I think they do want to space some time out before Cursed Child and make more money on Broadway with Cursed Child, because once the movie comes out, the Broadway thing becomes a lot less valuable.
So on this next movie, are they still letting J.K. Rowling like write the screenplays, or have they like?
Isn't she sharing
at this point?
She's sharing it with someone else.
She's sharing at this point.
Okay, that's good.
She's co-writing with the guy Steve Kloves, who wrote 7 of the 8 Harry Potter movies.
Okay. Well, I'm glad they've at least like learned to not let her just like write screenplays.
Exactly. I have some hope that this one is going to be better because he's involved in it.
Yeah. That was like a mistake that I was hoping they would have realized by now. Is that like great book writer, but like
not a great screenwriter.
Screenwriters are just like, it's a different talent.
Yeah, even the play, like she didn't write the play. Like she thinks she came up with like the story with a couple people, but then like they wrote the play. So yes, her skill is clearly in writing novels. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my long-winded reason for why I do not think Cursed Child will be coming out in a few years. I
disagree.
Yeah, I have to see the Broadway show anyway, so I have time. I mean, tickets are so expensive at this point.
Well, I mean, the Broadway thing now, a lot more people are probably going to start seeing it because they turned it into one thing. Like you don't have to buy tickets for 2 performances now.
Yeah,
which is awesome. See all of it with one ticket, 1 3.5 hour performance. So I think it's going to have a pretty big like comeback with Broadway, only just having reopened and now dealing with COVID over the past month.
Yeah.
But what else about the special did you guys enjoy? Any particular actors that you really liked seeing? Anyone that you wish was there that wasn't? Obviously excluding people that are no longer with us.
Gonna say there's a lot of people that died that
that was alarming. Looking at the when they threw all the names on the list.
Memoriam.
Yeah.
Like they focused on like 5 of the actors, but then that list was a big one.
Yeah. One one thing that I really liked, I liked how it was structured, how they went into each film, or pairings of films that were done by the same creative team, same director and whatnot. And then they brought in the actors, obviously, that were mostly a part of that story. But then like the directors, like I thought that was really cool. Like Helena Bonham Carter came in for the later movies with Daniel
Yeah.
Radcliffe, and they had their banter where Daniel Radcliffe said that he had like such a crush on her, apparently.
Yeah,
I
and
thought it was
I've never seen her like personality before, and like she's
yeah,
way different than what I was expecting.
she's bubbly and like seems like just like a really like
Hmm.
chill person. But I mean, it was really one thing that I thought was like really cool was just you could tell that these relationships that they that they were trying to show like in these interviews were genuine. Like they genuinely like built these relationships together and had a great time filming these movies. So that was like really really cool to see, and seeing Alfonso Cuarón was cool. I think
I
like
forgot
he's
he did a Harry Potter movie. I was like, oh
uh
yeah.
he's a man. And
Yeah,
I
Oscar winner Alfonso Cuarón did Harry Potter movie.
yeah, it was just cool seeing, I mean, Christopher Columbus, like it was seeing like all of these personalities and people in this industry that worked on these movies that probably haven't seen in forever. So that was really cool, and just hearing like all like the random stories that the
Yeah,
the actors had. It was, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought it was really cool, and how they handled all of the cast members that are no longer with us. I thought that was like really 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 well done
hmm
with how they paid respect to everyone, and just like just did it in a very very cool way.
yeah. What I just realized was they didn't have any of the Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers on the entire thing. Not one of them.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They had a lot of like the adult cast, but not.
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh wasn't on it, right? He wasn't in it, right?
No, no, he wasn't there. Brendan Gleeson wasn't. David Thewlis, um,
Strange.
Maggie Smith wasn't there, right?
Imelda Staunton wasn't there. Maggie Smith wasn't there.
I think she might be sick.
Really? I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
I
I
thought I
don't know.
read that she was sick.
But yeah, we didn't get Robert Pattinson. That would have been cool if he
No,
was there.
he was like, "I'm doing Batman right now. I can't be
Yeah,
on
I was
this."
saying to Doug, I was like, Warner Brothers should have just like forced him to be there. Like,
You would
There was
think,
like
right?
a
Batman,
part.
get the fuck over there.
He's like,
There was a part where they focus on his character dying, and
yeah,
like they could have easily had Robert Pattinson like pop in and be like, "Hey guys,
he's like, "No, man, I'm brooding."
remember that time I
Bruce
died?"
Yeah, and then I became a vampire, and now I'm Batman.
Wayne. One thing I read, this is random, that the Weasley twins, those actors, apparently either someone screwed up or it was done purposefully. Their names were incorrect,
Yeah,
so they should have
they
been
screwed up a
flipped.
couple things. They
Yeah.
had for a young
Like, how do you do
I
that?
read that.
for young Emma Watson, they had a photo of young Emma Roberts
Why?
because they
It
fucked
looked
up.
like her though.
Yeah.
Like I
Emma
like, didn't even
Roberts?
question it.
They had to change it. Both of those things have been fixed already
I'm
on
yeah, I'm sure.
HBO Max.
Emma Roberts though? Like, how does that even happen? Oh, that's
I don't know.
funny.
I
Silly,
don't know.
silly editors.
It looked like like a little Emma Watson though.
Yeah,
It wasn't like they didn't look similar as children.
It's just like something completely.
it's like
It's
Emma
almost
Watson hanging out with like Julia Roberts and Eric Roberts.
it- it's almost like whoever was editing it was just like, fuck it, I don't have a picture of Emma Watson this age. We're just gonna use someone who's close looking, and hopefully no one notices.
Yeah.
But the internet always knows. They always...
I was trying to think of what else was interesting about the special.
I really liked
Dude, seeing them as kids, man, they look so young.
What's
Like
Yeah,
it is wild how young they were.
and
When they
those
were
earlier
cast.
movies are so vivid in my mind. Like
Mhm.
going to see them, and it's like, wow, this is
Yeah.
like crazy how long ago this was.
Seeing them on set was awesome. Like just like fucking around and
Yeah.
being
Did anyone else like when they showed the screen test and it was like the three of them together? I was like, Daniel Radcliffe was horrible.
He was
Like
horrible.
he was just grinning the entire time. Like
Emma Watson does her classic overacting that she did in like the first couple movies throughout that entire thing. And then Rupert Grint's just like standing there making fucking faces.
I think because I guess they just looked the part so, so well. Like,
I thought Daniel Radcliffe was like easily looked like the worst actor out of the three of them, and it was just like he just has this like stupid grin on his face the whole time. Then when he talks, you're like,
well, how
looks
old
like
are
a
they? 9?
non-actor. He was young, but I think it was a lot of them being like, he looks like what we would imagine Harry Potter to look like.
Yeah.
Just throw some glasses on him and let's call it a day.
Got him some acting lessons over the course of the series.
Yeah, I don't remember him
he's
being
a great
that
actor now.
Yeah, I don't remember him being that bad in the first couple of movies.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
They got him there. They shot it right.
Yeah. I think they were just so fucking jacked up to be doing it that they could not even give a decent screen test. All right.
Jason Isaac's part, that like when they were talking about him and Draco's like their relationship, it was so funny where he like almost like broke his hand with the cane. He was like, I'm sorry, and then like would immediately just snap back into the character for like the next take. That's so cool.
He's like, I love him because he's such like he just like kills the villain roles.
Yeah, he's
like
so
masterful
good
at just like turning into a villain.
And he just like flips it on like just like a switch. It's pretty cool.
The other thing I thought was kind of interesting was I didn't realize that like was it Tom Felton and Emma Watson. I didn't realize they had like such a close relationship, and they were like,
I didn't know about that either.
That was one of the things that like kind of caught me off guard. Where like Emma Watson's like, yeah, I have this huge crush on him. And Tom Felton was like, yeah, viewer is like my little sister, and they seem to have like a very close dynamic that I didn't expect the two of them to have.
When she's talking like he was number 7 on the call sheet, like I would look for it like every day and be like, oh, this is a good day now. Like that was funny. Was cool.
Yeah, so I thought that was cool to see. For Cursed Child, it's Christopher Columbus is the one that they're like kind of talking about doing it again, right?
He wants to do it.
Okay,
that's bizarre to me.
It should be Quaron, just based on the type of story that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because the story is all about the Time Turner, so it only makes sense to go back to like the person who did the movie about the Time Turner.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I really hope that happens.
Like time travel is the whole fucking thing. Like so they need to have somebody who can do that, right? But like I said, they got a while to go to figure it out. So
not that long.
Yeah, no, time flies.
Like 4 or 5 years.
Time flies. It'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, this is true.
All right. Next up, we got the series premiere of the Book of Boba Fett. So we'll talk about Chapter 1. It's the only one we've all watched so far. Chapter 2 just aired today. What do you guys think? You digging it so far, or is it too similar to Mando? Not necessary as a story. What do you think?
I definitely don't think it's very necessary. I enjoyed the first episode. I do think it's really similar to Mandalorian, like almost embarrassingly similar. And that's why I think that so far it doesn't seem like it's really necessary. The one part that I really did enjoy was, them actually linking up with how he survives, even though it was, basically pulled out of fans, like fan fiction. That I enjoyed. Action was good. But the way that they're positioning Boba Fett is kind of odd to me. Like he's like comes off as like this like hammy, like good guy that just, wants to do like right by everyone instead of like the character that we know, up until this point. from all the other movies. He's not like stoic at all. He's just like a badass with a cane or with his fists. So it's kind of weird. But I guess the first episode I did enjoy to an extent.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I like this show less than Corey. Um, I think it feels too similar to Mandalorian. It just feels like a less good version of Mandalorian. I don't find the Boba Fett character as like interesting or fun as the Mandalorian is. But like the stories, you could almost just outside of like some of the flashbacks where it's pulled straight from like fan fiction of like, oh, how did Boba Fett escape the Sarlacc pit?
Mm-hmm.
It's very much like a Mandalorian story, especially. I know you guys haven't seen the second episode yet. I just saw it before we went on the podcast, but it just feels like, oh, we're going on an adventure where Boba Fett's going to help these people that need help, and it's like we do that all the time in Mandalorian. That's like half of Mandalorian is like these people need help, and I'm going to help them.
Can you imagine Baby Yoda shows up and then he ends up being with Boba Fett?
Yeah, if a fucking cute little like alien appears and starts hanging out with Boba Fett, I think I'm done with this show because that's. But yeah, I mean, like, I like the Mandalorian music better. I like the Western feel of Mandalorian better. I like Mandalorian better, and I'm not sure why we need a show about a very similar character. I think I was more interested in Boba Fett when it ended, and it was like, oh, Boba Fett's taken over. The underbelly of Star Wars, and we're going to explore the underbelly of Star Wars, but it's not really that. I think that's an interesting concept if we're doing like mob Star Wars, but he's not a mob boss. He's like fucking Mandalorian part 2. Like, I don't know. I think it's a missed opportunity. I think if they were going to do a Boba Fett, like go in with him like not being a great guy. Just because he's not helping people all the time doesn't mean it's not a character that you can't get behind or be interested in. Sopranos, Tony Soprano isn't a good guy. Interested in the character. Breaking Bad, Walter White's not a great guy.
I thought I thought Walter White was a good guy.
Some will say he was a good guy. Had some bad tendencies. I'm just like, not everyone has to help people to be a character that you could be interested in, and I think they tried to play it too safe, and it's made this show so far for me kind of boring. So that's my rant.
One last thought: I was hoping that there was going to be more, because the whole first episode takes place on Tatooine. I was hoping that they were going to like really get into a lot of like the the scum and villainy of Tatooine, like just like more of that and like more of the inhabitants, and they kind of did, but then all of a sudden it just kind of the last maybe like 15 minutes of the episode or 20 minutes, maybe close to 20 minutes, just kind of went on like a weird like tirade. Like it just got really strange, and I was just like, what is going on here? Like I was just hoping that it would be more of that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep my thoughts short and sweet. It's not for me. I just don't like the Favreau Star Wars universe. I feel like it's just not my cup of tea. Like Mando's okay, but I'm ready for Obi. Just give me Obi-Wan. Give me some new people involved. With like that's more of the Star Wars I enjoy.
I mean, how do we know Obi-Wan's not just going to be like this again?
I mean, I'm hoping. I mean, maybe it will be, but I mean, it's a completely different creative team, and it's more of the like Skywalker.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a sword instead of a gun, and he doesn't wear a helmet. So
I think it's just going to be more my speed. I'm going to give Ahsoka a shot, even though it's like the same people as these, because I'm assuming it's going to be significantly different than Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. But I don't know. We'll see. So far, the Marvel Disney Plus shows, I like every single one, with the exception of What If, more than the Star Wars shows.
Yeah, I mean, well, we can get into it in Hawkeye, but I think Disney has like a TV show problem in general.
They may, yeah.
I just like, I don't know. It seems like these shows, like, they're just kind of flying by the seat of their pants somewhat.
Yeah, I
like,
agree.
It feels like it should feel. It doesn't feel planned out like it should.
No, it doesn't.
When you like watch these shows,
Yeah,
it kind of feels like
a lot of them are just being expanded from from a 2-hour movie like script probably into a TV show. I mean, Hawkeye seemed like it could have been that way. Book of Boba Fett definitely was a movie script at one point. I mean, who knows if that Boba Fett movie originally had more similarities with The Mandalorian. I don't know. The only one that really felt like a TV show was WandaVision. That was very
and even that one
very
kind of
episodic until the end when it
towards the end, just kind of like felt like they didn't know where they were going to go with it and just kind of went in the worst possible place with boners.
Yeah, exactly. All right, but we'll talk more about Boba as things go along, as the season goes along.
Will we though? It doesn't sound like you're watching it anymore.
You guys will, and JP when he's on will. Maybe I'll watch it, maybe I won't. We'll see.
You made it through What If? You can make it through Boba Fett.
That's kind of my feeling. Like it's only 6 more episodes, so I could probably do it. I should be able to pull it off. All right, I'm gonna step out for a minute, and then we can get into the feature presentation.
Cool.
But yeah, we're gonna talk today about Cobra Kai season 4. Don't Look Up, Hawkeye, the second half of the season, so episodes 4 through 6, and just our overall thoughts. The Matrix Resurrections and Spider-Man No Way Home. So, like I mentioned yesterday, Doug and myself, we've seen all of these things. Corey has seen all of them except for Cobra Kai. So what we'll do is start our feature presentation with Cobra Kai. So Corey, if you do not want to hear any sort of spoilers, or we could start spoiler-free, overall thoughts, and then just kind of let you know when not to listen. And then we'll get into all the stuff that all 3 of us have seen.
That works for me.
Can you throw up like a spoiler thing? Or do we not know?
This is a fancy thing. I imagine Corey can figure it out. You still have time to figure it out since we have non-spoiler thoughts to talk about.
Yeah, I can.
Can you throw the Cobra Kai poster up?
I was going to just find
Doug is getting
spoiler
very demanding with this new program that we're using.
We might as well just like use it all, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. When you're right, you're right.
Oh, look at that poster. Look at all those. I never saw this poster before.
You never saw this poster before?
No.
It's a great poster.
This is the main poster. How have you never seen this?
I haven't been following anything.
It is fairly new. Like it only came out in maybe the middle of December. I think I sent it to our group chat though. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, the light and the dark side.
Oh yeah, it's all about the soul of the valley. That's the tagline.
Yeah, fight for the soul of the valley. Oh man,
absolutely epic. Yeah, so let's talk Cobra Kai season 4. I think the first thing I'll just mention overall, I think there was a minor dip in quality compared to the last few seasons, probably just because it's there's only so many ways you can deal with the same people like duking it out all the time. I mean, it's as Doug and I
talk, it got ridiculous this season.
Yeah, some of them got a little like ridiculous just to watch them continue to fight. Particularly Johnny and
it also
Daniel, just like bickering, even though they're like on the same side.
What annoys me is like season 2 ended, and it's like Daniel and Johnny are like gonna join together, and it's like cool. Like
season 3, you mean?
Season 3, yeah. No, wait, what season are we on?
4.
Oh wow!
Unless you missed the season, in which case
I don't think
you're on season 3.
Oh, it looked like a 3. All right, whatever. At the end of season 3, it was like, oh wow, the plot for season 4 is going to progress because Daniel and Johnny are on the same side. Like, this is great. Like, we're gonna make progress. And then all of season 4 is just like they're fighting again. Fucking
Yeah,
bickering
even though they're
married
like on
couple.
this, they're like on the same side. Just they're always gonna have like their own like squabbles with one another. And it was interesting how they dealt with some of the jealousy aspects because it wasn't necessarily the same as ones that they had in the past. Like in the past, Johnny being jealous about Daniel and his son's relationship, but this time it was about Miguel and Daniel, like him being jealous of them. And then even
But they
like
just like switched the character out.
yeah, I
Like,
know
that's not really
I
like
know it's not like a major, and that's why I felt a little bit like stale.
yeah.
And Daniel being a little like jealous about his daughter learning from Johnny. But like they did do something like by the end of the season, did a pretty good job of um, seeming like it is changing the stakes quite a bit for the next season, without giving away any spoilers. Based on like the new characters that's brought into the show, Terry Silver from Karate Kid Part 3, the new character whose name is escaping me, who was getting bullied in the show by Anthony, Daniel's son.
Oh yeah.
And now it seems like next season Anthony will probably continue to get more into the mix, with Miyagi-Do and everything like that.
I mean, that kid like went through puberty in between seasons.
Yeah, and I love the joke that when Johnny's like, "What happened to you? You switched to like junior Whoppers or something like that," and he goes, "I went through growth spurt, asshole." Because
I mean, they had to address
he
it.
looked so different in between seasons, and like all it took place time wise was like a Christmas break. Like the
Does
new
the show
season,
look different? Like shot differently since
nah,
now this is like Netflix?
it's shot exactly the same way, and it still follows the same structure where like it only takes place like right after the previous season, only for like a certain amount of months.
That's good. That was something I was worried about.
Yeah, like this season takes place over, I guess you would say, the same time period as season 1, unless season 1 took place over an entire school year, and this only takes place over the second half of the school year.
Oh, okay.
How old are they supposed to be now at this point?
They're supposed to be juniors. They're supposed to be juniors, and then Anthony's an 8th grader.
They're going to be like 40 by the time they get out of high school.
Yeah, like season 5, I guess will take place, if it follows the same structure as season 2, it would just be the summer going into senior year. Or else it'll take place like the summer and maybe like the first half of their senior year of high school, because they went to the junior prom in this one.
Yeah, and I was looking up their ages, and some of them are like 25, 26.
Yeah, Daniel's daughter, she's like 24, 25. She's one
Robbie's
of the older
like
ones.
25 or 26.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're definitely not young anymore. I mean, they're going to be as old as the cast of Grease by the time the show ends, and they'll be seniors in high school. They'll be in their 30s. But it seems like they're doing a good job of running, like speeding ahead with each season. Like they're already filming season 5 now. I think it's like fairly close to being wrapped at this point.
Okay, crazy. They film so quick.
Like, yeah, they do a good job of like, unlike Stranger Things, like just continuing to go, because they understand like these characters are supposed to like, it's supposed to take place over a span of like 2 years, so like they can't get too old looking.
Man, when is that new Stranger Things supposed to come out? That show has been gone for so long.
This summer.
I keep forgetting about that. Like, I feel like that's going to be a detriment to that show, but that's a whole other thing.
They wait way too long in between seasons.
Yeah. But who did you think was standout this year, or did any of the new characters stand out to you?
I mean, I'm always a Johnny fan. I always enjoyed Johnny the most. To me, he's the most interesting character.
Yeah.
And Daniel's just always getting in his fucking way. So I don't know. I don't know if it's intentional. Like the show wants Johnny to be the hero, but he's always like the hero in my eyes.
It's not the hero. Johnny's the hero. Johnny's the clear hero of the show.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
I think they want you to see that like Daniel has like
A lot of
serious
character
flaws.
flaws.
Like despite the fact that he's the traditional hero, like both in the
So many
series
flaws.
and like in any program he would be the hero. Like he's not like he has his issues.
He like sabotaged their like whole training together, it seemed like.
It did seem that way.
Yeah, it was just like, and he's like, "Oh, we got to do defense, no offense." It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's karate. What are you
Like, how are
smoking?
you gonna get a point if you can't fucking do any offense?
Like
That's
you took these
Miyagi go away.
You took these Miyagi lessons like a little too to heart. Like, yeah, out in the street, don't go beating the shit out of somebody, but you're in a karate tournament. Like,
yeah, I like can't help but feel like Mr. Miyagi would probably like Johnny a lot. Like if he knew him, like he'd like find him to be like a funny person.
yeah, I always think about that How I Met Your Mother clip
Yeah.
that I think I shared with you guys, where like Barney is like, Johnny was the karate kid,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, no,
Daniel's the villain.
exactly. But Zapka just continues to kill it. Like he's a good actor at this point. You can watch him in season 4 compared to like season 1 and see like how much he's progressed as an actor, even though he was like always the standout on the show, just because of how well written the character is. But yeah, he just continues to do a great job. And you mentioned to me like him and Miguel continue to be like the heart of the show, like their story.
Yeah, I would say that what made this season a little weaker for me is like the lack of him and Miguel. Like I felt like I got a lot more because Miguel had hurt his back in the prior season, and
Yeah,
like it seemed like him and Miguel had like a lot more time together, and I think I kind of missed that in this season.
mm-hmm. Yeah, like when this season Miguel's like got distractions between like his girlfriend and trying to like win over the LaRusso, like Daniel in particular, and realizing he like actually has like a decent amount in common with him, despite the fact that like they're very different at this point in the show.
Yeah, I think for kids, I found like Tori's character to be the most interesting.
Yeah, they gave her a lot more to do this season. Not more. She wasn't so like one dimensional as like a villain. Like they've always showed that she had her own like reasons for being the way she was, but they really like fleshed her out better than ever in this season.
Yeah, I thought she had like a lot to do. To the detriment of Sam's character, who just had to be like a fucking
a villain
jerk to her. Yeah, a villain to her the entire time.
Yeah, she comes across like a fucking piece of shit instead of the opposite way around, like it did for the majority of the show.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they don't know what to do with a lot of the kids at this point. I don't know if they're like waiting or what, but like, didn't really seem like Miguel really did all that much. Robbie is like the one that I feel like they're like completely lost on.
Yeah, they don't seem to know like how exactly, like what he should be like feeling and thinking, and who he should be like.
I think they originally intended Robbie to be like they know they want to bring Robbie and Johnny together, but like they have like Miguel in the mix, and they seem to like steer more towards Miguel than like the Robbie reconciliation. And
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think they really know what they want to do with Robbie.
I thought he was never more interesting like as a character than with him starting to like bond with like Tori, and like kind of them both turning like away from being like the evil Cobra Kai characters. So I think maybe they'll continue to steer like in that direction next season, and he'll get better. But I thought Hawk had a good arc. I thought he had one of the better ones for the younger characters.
Yeah, he did have a good arc.
And then Dimitri didn't get too much to do. He was more kind of went back into his comic relief type role.
Yeah, he's basically comic relief at this point. They're like, look, attractive girl likes Dimitri. That's funny.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like you said, Miguel didn't get as much to do. But Kreese, I thought him and Silver, I thought their stuff, while very cartoonish at times, I thought had some strong things as well. I liked Terry Silver's return and how they immediately addressed his character in part 3 as like a character who did so much coke and like was completely fucking messed up back in the 80s. I thought that was pretty funny. Like he's like, yeah, it's like I was strung out on coke and terrorizing a high school kid. Like, what the hell's wrong with me? I thought
Which
that
is
was
why
pretty
I
funny.
don't like his turn later on though, because it's like,
Yeah,
I don't know, there should have been coke involved. I guess I
There's,
didn't
they
want to
should
do it.
they should have. I mean, they did get into the point where they're throwing f-bombs out on the show now, so it
Mhm.
wouldn't have surprised me if like he just started like doing lines.
Yeah, like he blamed it on cocaine, and then like his turn just like had nothing to do with cocaine, and it was just like,
Yeah. But he did feel more in line with who he was in part 3 by the end of the season. And I continue to like the way the show weaves in and out characters. There was a few that weren't in season 3 at all, who we last saw in season 2, who returned to it. The show, more than like any other show, does a good job of dropping characters and like bringing them back when the story needs them, and versus just like keeping people on just to keep people on.
Good
I mean,
writers.
it's more on the supporting side. Like,
Yeah.
otherwise, I mean, you could get rid of potentially like one of the main kids for a season if necessary, but it still is like pretty.
There was a character
cool.
that I would argue didn't need to come back.
I'm guessing I know who you're talking about. I know exactly who you're talking about. The prom
Like the worst
episode.
character. Yeah.
Yeah. Corey, I think will disagree. I like that character. I
I always thought he
think
was terrible.
I mean, he's a ridiculous character, but I enjoy him because I like the actor.
His like fucking plot too is kind of as ridiculous as he was.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have to come back for season 5 based on the way the season ended.
Did it have the same length, 10 episodes? Was it 10 episodes?
Yeah, most episodes are 35-ish minutes.
Yeah.
A few that are finales like close to an hour. But yeah, overall, I'm still excited for the next season, and where it seems like they're going with it. It seems like it's going to shake things up a little bit. We're getting some more returning characters for the next ones. Characters that have already appeared on Cobra Kai, and characters that haven't, that it looks like they're teasing. So that's pretty cool.
Do you guys foresee the show going past like 5 seasons? Like just continuing in some capacity?
Yeah, at this point, I think it's going to go 6 or 7.
That's exciting.
I mean, the way they set it up, if it followed the same structure, it would have to go 7 seasons. Like, my guess is the show is going to end with the 52nd All Valley tournament. And that seems to be the 2 seasons in between each one. So, yeah, I think it goes 7 seasons most likely at this point. But it probably should stop at 6. They probably should speed up the time frame a little bit, and they might have to because the characters are just going to get too old, or the actors are going to get too old.
Yeah.
So, what were you going to say, Doug?
I was going to just say, did you catch? I think I texted you about it, but did you catch that Ralph Macchio's daughter was in the show? Because I didn't.
Who was she?
She was like the cousin's wife or whatever. I don't remember the character's name. She was like the psychiatrist, the child psychiatrist.
Yeah. That was her. That's Macchio's son or Macchio's daughter.
Yeah.
Oh no, I had no idea.
I had no idea too.
I thought it was weird that they didn't treat her like family, but they treat Louis like family. Like, they just kept saying Louis' sister. Like, why don't you say her name? Like, if Louis is your cousin, like, then she would also be your cousin.
Yeah. I didn't really pay attention to where she fell in the family. I just thought it was funny when they called her Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, because the character was very My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah. So that was funny, but yeah, I had no idea that was Ralph Macchio's daughter. I happened to just see something online that said it was his daughter, and I was like, oh shit. And I
I didn't know.
Looked through pictures, and I was like, it is his daughter.
Interesting.
So,
all right. Well, we will talk, Corey, when you catch up. Obviously, we'll talk about it. If not on here, in our in person or on.
I don't see a need for us to completely dive into spoilers on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna start watching it.
And get your fucking brother to catch up.
I know, he's the worst. He's the worst.
I love this season with Terry Silver.
Yeah, he's the man. He probably would.
All right.
Right. Well, I know Corey's got the next poster ready to go, so.
Is this
No.
true, Corey? Do you have the next poster ready to go?
I do not.
Corey's like, damn it, I haven't had to have this responsibility before.
I was too busy listening to you guys and your riveting talk.
All right.
Cobra Kai season 4.
We can continue on. I'll find.
While Corey looks for a poster, we're going to be talking about Don't Look Up, Adam McKay's new Netflix film with Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, and a slew of other actors, A-list actors, which I don't know if you guys saw, had officially the biggest week in Netflix history. So this movie has hit the zeitgeist, taken things by storm. Definitely mixed reactions to it. I'm seeing a lot of people loving it, a lot of people hating it. It doesn't seem to be one where many people are in the middle. So let's talk about this one and see where each of us stand. Doug, while Corey's on the poster, you want to share your initial thoughts? Corey and I had seen it a while back. We saw it in theaters, but we wanted to wait until it dropped on Netflix to actually discuss it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, this is one I don't have like a strong feeling about. That's why I kind of paused. I thought it was enjoyable overall, but like, I guess I wanted more from this movie. Like, it didn't live up to probably. This isn't a movie that lived up to the expectations I had based on the cast. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio, like, if he's signing on to something, usually it's going to be pretty awesome because he has basically his pick of the litter when it comes to movies.
Yeah.
I mean, Jennifer Lawrence hasn't done much in a while, but I'm sure she still has a lot of clout. And just like,
yeah, I mean, between the two of them,
the cast, you just kind of feel like this is gonna. They didn't have to do this movie.
Yeah, I mean, they made bank. I think Leo made 25 and Jennifer Lawrence made 20 million.
Oh wow.
So, or maybe it might have even been 30 and 25, but they both made a lot of money from this one.
Adam McKay has a pretty good track record.
Yeah,
but he can kind of steer himself into like the political realm sometimes. So you never know what you're going to get, I think, with McKay. But I enjoyed it. It just didn't like, I wasn't dying with laughter. And it wasn't, I didn't find it like, it wasn't something I like thought about too much after I saw it. Like, it didn't leave me with like, wow, they made a lot of really good points and I'm just going to like think on this and pull it apart. It was kind of just like, I found like the references to be very in your face.
obvious.
Yeah, I don't know that it wasn't intent. I think it was intentionally obvious, but I mean, the fact that this movie felt very familiar to everyday life, almost, I think, probably too familiar for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I would guess that's what like turned a lot of people off, is like,
yeah, I mean, the real world is past the point of satire at this point. So it's like,
yeah,
as ridiculous as they get, like, we already can just turn on the news and see things that are like equally ridiculous in like, certain situations.
I mean, the story is like, for the people that aren't familiar with the story is about like meteors hurling towards Earth. It's an extinction event meteor, so if it hits Earth, it's gonna
think Deep Impact, Armageddon, that kind of movie.
Yeah, and it's just gets, I don't know if it gets politicized basically into the people that believe that there's a comet actually coming and going to destroy the Earth, and the people that are basically the don't look up people that are like, it's not really coming, it's a hoax, or there's a lot of jobs that can be created from this meteor if we can go up there and mine it and get all the minerals and things out of the comet before the comet comes and hits the planet and destroys it. And so let's try to do that before, instead of blowing it up. But it didn't seem that unrealistic, unfortunately, that like that's what would happen.
Especially as the movie went on, it got a little bit more serious and less funny.
Yeah, that's what stuck with me the most was
Yeah.
the end of the movie, like the like Last Supper type of thing, and like
Yeah. Yeah.
everything just like, oh fuck, like we were too like we fucked up, we're too late. Um, that was the part that stuck with me
Mm-hmm.
in like the week since I've seen the movie.
Yeah.
As much as I found some of it very funny, like I found Jonah Hill hilarious throughout the film. Jennifer Lawrence's recurring bit regarding the free snacks, having to pay for free snacks. I thought that was a really funny bit. Um, Leo, just as a whole, like being so against type as a character, like having a fucking wife that's like his age and like having like adult kids
Mm-hmm.
and not and just being a nervous fucking like anxiety ridden mess. That was a very funny stuff. But yeah, it wasn't like as laugh out loud funny as I was expecting, like as a whole, nor was it like as dramatic as one would think such a topic would be until like the final, I don't know, fifth of the movie.
It felt a lot like up until a certain point. It felt a lot like a Mel Brooks type of movie.
I was just thinking that
Like it
as well.
was, especially in the beginning, like maybe the first hour. I mean, it slowed down, but the first probably maybe even half of the movie, like the jokes were so like out there and ridiculous and outlandish, and poking fun of certain people, that it really did feel like a Mel Brooks type of satire type of movie. And then it just took like such a different turn, towards the last, it might have even been like 40 minutes of the movie. Like the tone like completely changed. And I'm sure that that was on purpose, like, but it was very shocking. It was just like, whoa, okay. It doesn't even feel like the same movie in a lot
Mm-hmm.
of ways.
Who stood out for you the most, Corey? I know Doug and I talked, and so I have an idea of who he thought did. I would like to hear about you.
um as main characters, I really liked Leonardo DiCaprio a lot. Um, Jennifer Lawrence was fantastic too. Like she was great. I didn't necessarily think that the scenes with both of them were anything to write home about. Like they were very good together, but the scenes that they had with other supporting characters struck me a lot better.
Kind of like,
Um,
yeah, like Jennifer Lawrence and Chalamet, and then like
yep.
Kate Blanchett and Leo. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even realize that that was Kate Blanchett. I watched the movie the second time and I was like, "Oh my god, that is Kate Blanchett," because it doesn't really look like her.
yeah, she killed
They
it.
Yeah, she was hilarious. I really
It
enjoyed
it
her.
was similar to Tilda Swinton and what was that one called? Trainwreck, where they like have her
Mhm.
look like very different from like who she is and like glamour up to a ridiculous degree. Um, but yeah, I she did a really good job.
Yeah.
She does like a
Leo was
great accent
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Probably my favorite character, like, even, I would say supporting character is, uh, what's his name? The Bash CEO, I forgot the actor's name.
interesting. Because
I
Doug did
loved
not. Doug thought he was the weak link in the
I
movie.
loved his performance. I thought, because he was clearly going for like that Steve Jobs like type of character, but he was insane. Like when he snapped on Leo in that one scene and like brought him down to size, I thought that was great. And like, all of his just like really weird mannerisms and
Yeah.
different
So
things that he was doing.
Corey's talking about Mark Rylance
Mm.
in the film. For those who haven't seen it.
Meryl Streep was awesome. I thought she was great. She seemed to have a lot of fun with the role. But overall, I mean, Chalamet was great. I thought there wasn't a weak link in the cast. Um, but I think overall, I probably liked Leo the most because his some of his outbursts were like so ridiculous, especially
And
the one.
you know that's why he did the movie. It was to
Yeah,
fucking like let loose of his anger about climate change
that one that
via
one
this
scene.
metaphor of an
Yeah,
asteroid.
yeah, exactly. That one scene where he goes on his rant
Yeah,
is
he has his
so
network moment.
so good. Like that, watching it a second time, I was like, damn. I was like, this is, and you could tell, like, he definitely drew from you know, his actual feelings on
Yeah.
climate change. But yeah, I would say, yeah, Rylance is probably one of my favorite characters. I mean, but I really did enjoy everyone's performance. I thought they were really well rounded. It was a fun movie for the most part, up until a certain point, and it got
Yeah.
really, really dark.
And Doug, why didn't you like Mark Rylance?
I'll have to watch it again. I guess so Steve Jobs isn't who I would compare him to, because I think Steve Jobs was a much better
Speaker. He had like
was a much better
charisma.
speaker. Yeah, he was like somebody that was engaging, that you would sit back and listen to and be like, I want to spend a lot of money on this Apple product. I think if I would compare him to anybody, it kind of felt like an Elon Musk, where it's like not really great at public speaking, has a lot of weird mannerisms. But I just kind of found him. I think I wanted more of a Steve Jobs out of that character than an Elon Musk, because like, this is somebody that like everybody believed in, and he was able to like convince everybody of his idea, and he was just like not a very persuasive, or like he wasn't a character that I felt like the other characters would have listened to, because he came off as like very weak to me, and he didn't have like a strong personality that I felt like people would rally behind, and so I just didn't feel like that character. He just didn't feel right to me. It's nothing to do with the performance, I guess.
It was unsettling for sure.
It's more of just like, I didn't buy that character would be convincing everybody to go with his idea, because he just didn't come off as like strong or a leader to me. So it's not really that much against the character. Completely agree with you guys. Kate Blanchett being unrecognizable.
Yeah.
I knew that was her, but even knowing it was her, it was like, I know she's in there somewhere. And I think that's one of the performances that I thought was the best, just because she freaking Gary Oldman it, where you're just like,
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
She's like, you don't see that actress at all in that character. And I think that's the only character that I could say that about, where they got completely lost in the character.
Yeah, there were actors that I just enjoyed. Like, it was clearly them. Like, there was no, it was easy to like call them out, and they didn't do anything special, but I just enjoyed their characters. But yeah, Kate Blanchett definitely was one that I get. Like I said before, I didn't even realize I've seen the movie twice. And when I was watching it the second time, I was like, oh, that is Kate Blanchett. Like, no idea.
Yeah. Tyler Perry's somebody that I enjoy in movies
He was,
when it's movies that he hasn't made. This and Gone Girl. I thought he's been really good in both of those movies.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
He needs to do more with like directors like this, like like Fincher, McKay, like just outside of his own producing orbit, directing orbit.
Ron Perlman was hilarious, even though he was in a very limited role. But he was
so over the top. But he was funny. He was every time someone goes like, he's from another generation, I fucking died.
Yeah.
We just say the most horrible, like ridiculous things.
Like it's an excuse. Like it's just another generation.
Then Rob Morgan, I thought he was very strong, and like as part of like that trio with Leo and Jennifer Lawrence, of like people actually trying to fucking fix like this problem, and just being like surrounded by fools.
How would you say this compares to I mean, I still haven't watched it, I need to The Big Short, because I know that's one of McKay's top films.
Big Short's definitely much better. It's more serious than this one, while still being funny. It's more of like that like fuck you type funny, versus like this one, which is like trying to tell like larger than life jokes. But that one is definitely more on the dramatic side and more focused overall on its story.
Yeah, I don't like Big Short.
Really?
You didn't like Big Short?
I'm surprised.
No,
most people like that movie.
I found it like boring and didn't really interest me.
I've heard terrifying. I haven't heard boring. Terrifying is usually a word that
I didn't find it was terrifying. I found like it's like It's more of fucking just rich people fucking over everyone else. Like, wow, shocker. Which is a basic thing in all of McKay's movies. I mean, it's in the other guys. It's in the Don't Look Up. It's in Big Short, Vice. It's in everything that he does. It's always been an interest of him is dumb people, and which has been from Anchorman to now, and institutions failing people, I would say.
It's even in Step Brothers.
Yeah.
The rich brother.
Brother, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that one's a movie about like dumb people failing upward, and like similar to Talladega Nights and Anchorman and everything like that. Like,
wow, I never realized that.
Murph breaking it down.
No, I mean he's clearly always had the same things on his mind. He's just been much more explicit lately,
right?
In his last 3 films, and it really started with the credits of the other guys, where it became like very obvious, like when it starts breaking down all these stats, that he's not just like a comedy director. And I mean, the fact that he no longer works with Will Ferrell and like he produces Succession and all these things, like politics is like, and climate change in particular, like some of the things he's most passionate about. He just happens to be extremely funny at the same time.
Well, McKay and Ferrell had like a falling out, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Or like Ferrell said he wasn't gonna like ever work with McKay again or something.
Yeah, he lied to him, didn't he?
They're no longer producing partners or anything. Like they broke up their company, and yeah, because Ferrell wanted a part in something McKay was producing, that Lakers TV series that comes out this year on HBO. He wanted like the main role, and McKay didn't think he was the right person. He thought John C. Reilly was the right person, and HBO also agreed with Adam McKay. They didn't think Ferrell was the right fit for the show, so they hired Reilly behind Ferrell's back, and then Reilly told Ferrell, and before McKay got a chance to talk to him, and that was that.
Yeah, that's definitely where that went wrong. He should have at least,
and he said he fucked up. He's like, I'll be honest though, like it's not like Ferrell like didn't fuck me over like times as well. Like we've been business partners since like he was the head writer on like SNL, or one of the main writers on SNL, and Ferrell was a cast member. Like 25-year working relationship. It sucks that it goes down like it did, especially based on the great work they've done together. But they seem to be going in different paths over the past decade, before like this whole thing went down anyway.
Yeah, maybe they'll reconcile at some point.
Hopefully.
Step Brothers too.
Yeah, I mean clearly John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell are still friends. So
yeah, aren't they best friends? I thought they were.
I guess that they're
actually
very good. I don't know if they're best, but they're definitely very good friends. And obviously Reilly and McKay are still close. But it is what it is. It's hard to work with your best friends. So yeah. Anything else about Don't Look Up, or do you want to get into Hawkeye?
No, I don't think I have anything else.
We didn't talk. I thought we talked about Hawkeye already for some reason, but you're right, we haven't.
We have not.
All right, let's do it. Let's talk about. I'm sure Corey's got the next poster ready to go.
I'm almost there.
You probably should get that Matrix and Spider-Man poster ready to go as well.
Matrix I have. I thought Matrix was next, so you guys caught me off guard.
Yeah, we were going TV, movie, and then finish with Spider-Man.
But you know what? I can do this real
quick. I didn't want to end with 2 Marvel things in a row.
All right, so let's talk about
Hawkeye.
The Hawkeye.
Yeah, so last we spoke, we had discussed the first half of the season. Since then, there's a lot of stuff with Yelena Belova, Florence Pugh, Vincent D'Onofrio joined the show. So Kingpin from Daredevil is in the MCU now. We found out that Vera Farmiga, Kate Bishop's mother, was working for Kingpin, doing bad deeds. And then, we also found out Echo's Maya, her father's death wasn't exactly what it seemed. So there was a lot of like shifting alliances and things like that going on in the last few episodes. How did we think the addition of Florence Pugh and Vincent D'Onofrio did for the show? Was it too much for the final? I mean, it was a short show, only 6 episodes. Was it too much to add for the final 3? Did you think they should have been introduced earlier?
I didn't really think so. I mean, I thought for the most part the show was paced relatively well. Vincent D'Onofrio, I definitely would have liked more of, but I don't know if that's because it felt awkward because it really didn't. It served the show, but I just want to see more of him as a character. So I was a little disappointed with how little we saw of him, even though what we did see of him was awesome. But with Florence Pugh, I thought she served the purpose of the story. I feel like if she was in more, it would have been a little unbalanced. She really didn't have much to do, like narratively.
Yeah, I don't think we needed Florence Pugh honestly at all.
Yeah,
Like, it didn't seem necessary, that character. If anything, I thought like adding her was to the detriment of the show because she's a Black Widow, and
this is a Hawkeye.
Well, I think it sets up her character because I mean, a lot of this show is setting up Young Avengers, but also giving giving her sister a little bit more of kind of like the send off that she didn't get in Black Widow. That's how I felt. Like I really liked that last scene with her and Clint fighting on the ice in Rockefeller Center, and then how that played out, like that entire scene. Like I really
this was
that.
sort of Natasha's like Far From Home. Like Far From Home spent the entire movie mourning the loss of Tony Stark, and this one was very much Natasha's always on the back of the main character's mind, and they did a good job talking about it, like you said.
Yeah, and Yelena and Kate were great. Like I loved them together.
They had
From
great
the
chemistry.
First time that she showed up, and they, even that conversation in her apartment, all the way up to like the end with the end with their conversations that they kept having in their little fight. Like I thought they were great. I definitely want to see more of them. But I like Yelena, and I like Florence Pugh a lot, as you guys know. So,
yeah, I thought the character seemed different than she did in Black Widow.
I liked her more in this, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think they might have played her for laughs a little too much for me.
But I thought she was more dangerous in this. I thought she was played for laughs more in Black Widow. Talking about her fucking jacket and like, because I mean she was with her sister the majority of the time. So like other than the emo parts where she's upset about like the fact that like Natasha didn't consider them like real sisters or whatever, or real family. Like I thought she was mostly like a little kid sister, like fucking around with Natasha, versus this one where I thought she had more of an edge and like actually came across as kind of intimidating and like actually could be like a Black Widow, even more so than Scarlett Johansson ever presented herself.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, I never found her intimidating.
Doug, you mentioned to me, Doug, that she reminded you of Villanelle in Killing Eve, and I thought that was a spot on assessment.
Yeah, but I would say that, and maybe that's part of the problem I have with it, is I think Villanelle does a better job of playing the funny but intimidating Russian assassin than Florence Pugh, and I don't know if it's because of like the stature difference, since Florence Pugh's like tiny, or what, but like there's something like that I always found more intimidating about Villanelle. I feel like that
Jodie Comer is also fucking stabbing people and there's blood, and like
that's true.
Probably has a little bit to do with it.
But yeah, I would say like I like Jodie Comer better as the Russian assassin. That's kind of funny too.
Yeah.
Than Florence Pugh, and maybe that's kind of I'm comparing the two subconsciously, and that's kind of what's making me look down more on Florence Pugh's performance. But yeah, she's fine. I just like I don't know. I think overall this show didn't really like do anything for me, and so like I thought the use of Kingpin kind of, I don't know, just a kind of shoulder shrug for me.
It was a little rushed with Kingpin. I don't know why he was wearing a Hawaiian shirt like the entire time.
Oh, that's
But it was in the
that's just a
comics,
nod.
right?
It's a nod, yeah, to the comics. But
Got
yeah,
It felt
I mean,
weird though, yeah, in
I
the
enjoyed
show
that.
that he like comes through with the Hawaiian shirt. And
Yeah, like he seemed a
cane and-
little different, like a little goofier than he did on Netflix.
He was definitely different. Like everything about him was different, and the
I mean,
his like power set was
his
completely
power
different
set
too.
is
power
completely
set was
different.
different, yeah.
And
but-
Vincent D'Onofrio doesn't acknowledge that, but he
Yeah.
says this is the exact same character as Daredevil. They just have made tweaks for it to work in the MCU.
Yeah, which makes sense
because it's not an R-rated Netflix show.
Kate made a good comment about Yelena blipping. That was interesting.
One
That
of the
was
highlights of the season.
Yeah, that I did not see coming.
Good shout out. That was because this is the first time we've seen the entire perspective from a blippy.
A blippy.
Where we see her in a bathroom and she disappears and then like reappears like right after, and like all the surroundings are different, and like you just see the entire like what the fuck moment from their perspective, which was it was really cool. Every time they do a different like way of showing the blip, it always works out like very well. Like the hospital in WandaVision, Hawkeye with his family in the beginning of Avengers Endgame, Nick Fury at the end of Infinity War, obviously everyone in Infinity War, the Ant-Man one, like
Far From Home was funny.
Yeah, Far From Home was played for laughs.
Yeah,
a marching band
showing the marching band returning and landing on everyone else.
Continuing to see the ramifications of Thanos.
Yeah, Thanos was right, as the mug says.
Yep.
Go. Were you?
I was just gonna say the Kingpin thing was like, it was. He took a lot of fucking damage from Kate, and was like fine. So that was very different than his, and he seemed way stronger.
Oh yeah, I mean, but I enjoyed that. I mean, I liked his little fight with her, and
he seemed more similar to how he was in Spider-Verse as far as his like toughness than. I mean, he was always fucking tough on Daredevil.
Yeah, but it was like,
this was like to a crazy degree.
Yeah, I thought it was cool how they they had him get like he got run over by a car, like he got blown up, like there were so many things that they did to him in that last like maybe
he just
20
like
minutes.
ripped the door open with his hands.
Yeah. And so I'm excited for what they're gonna do with him because he's not dead. Like he's gonna come back.
Yeah.
And that has me excited, and also because like D'Onofrio, he loves playing that character. You can tell, like he gets amped up to play him again, and I'm sure they're gonna lead into him, getting back, in the game with Daredevil again, and that would probably be even different, like of an encounter than what we've seen.
Based on what they did with Kingpin, I suspect that Matt Murdock and Daredevil is going to feel different too in the MCU.
Yeah.
Like his power set's going to be probably even more crazy. Maybe he'll be sliding on roofs again and do like Ben Affleck.
Having dance fights in schoolyards with Elektra.
Please no.
Maybe that'll be in Multiverse of Madness. Ben Affleck will show up as the old Daredevil.
That would be pretty funny.
So,
I don't know if he'd fit into the outfit though.
Yeah. Some other notes. I thought Tony Dolan ended up being amusing as a character, like become funnier, like as it went along.
They like went so ridiculous with that character.
Oh yeah, they're like, here, fucking go campy. Like just
like he's at the party and he's got like the sword around his waist, and like he never walks around with a sword, and all of a sudden he's got the sword now.
He was ridiculous, but he plays the sword master. I think that's a character.
Yeah,
sword master. Yeah. So I guess it falls in line.
And then, of course, like, no one has a gun, so he
Yeah.
stabs everybody
Yeah.
and
Well, naturally.
fights. Like,
This is my time.
Vera Farmiga, I thought was ultimately wasted. Like,
Yeah, she
yep,
was.
I agree.
Yep.
Which was disappointing. But yeah, I thought Jeremy Renner, I thought did a great job. Probably his best overall performance as Hawkeye. I liked the struggles that he was going throughout. Haley Steinfeld, I'm pumped for her to be in the MCU moving forward. Super charismatic. Will be a fun, different approach to Hawkeye moving forward, whether it's just her or continues to be the two of them. Hopefully it continues to be the two of them for a little while. I don't think they're quite done with this Jeremy Renner character yet, especially with the things that they were teasing with his wife, who seems to be a SHIELD, or who clearly was a former SHIELD agent.
Mockingbird or whatever.
Mockingjay.
Mockingjay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't catch that. I didn't know that, like, whatever number was on the watch, like, went to an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. that was pretty popular and actually married Hawkeye.
Yep.
So that was interesting.
Yeah, so that explained kind of why she's always been so, like, chill with everything that's been going on. She's got her own history in that world. But yeah, overall, I disagree with you, Doug, in regards to your overall thoughts on the show. I thought this was on the higher scale of MCU shows. I think I put it like as my second highest of the 5 so far.
Yeah, it's up there for me too. I really
what do
liked
you
it.
have it as? Third highest? There's only been 5 shows, and one of them was What If. No, Doug made a face. So like how much lower could you possibly have had it?
So I would definitely put Loki and WandaVision ahead of it.
Yes, Loki's my number 1.
Yeah.
What's the other?
Loki
What If came out, and
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is like my least favorite.
Yeah.
But I didn't watch What If.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess by default it's 3, but
Falcon was.
I wish I could put it lower.
And Court, you put it as what, like 2 or 3?
I'd probably say 2 because the Loki is probably number 1 for me, so I'd probably say 2.
Yeah, no, Loki's my standout one, and this was my definite 2. It was close to WandaVision. I just thought it was more consistent throughout. I was really let down on the later episodes of WandaVision. Yeah, and that too. That really pissed me off. Really grinds my gears that they did that.
Oh, they didn't have to too, because like
they didn't have to. They chose to fucking piss me off.
Because like, doesn't become too much later that multiverse, and we're just gonna get every fucking character that's ever been or could exist and cameo.
So what are you talking about?
I'm just saying, like, the boner.
Oh yeah, that pissed me off.
He could have been Quicksilver. Like,
yeah, he could have been.
No one cares anymore about multiverse and what character came from what universe. Like,
they decided to just fuck us. Give us the big FU. Give us boner.
Yeah, that was a detriment to the show.
But the performances of Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen, I thought.
Oh yeah, if we're ranking performances, like, I mean, they would be probably my top 2, if not Tom Hiddleston being somewhere in between 1 and 2. But yeah, I think Elizabeth Olsen's gave the best one of any of the shows so far.
What did you guys think of Maya in Hawkeye?
Interesting. I'll watch Echo.
Yeah, I thought I liked her a lot. I liked Kaz. I liked him too. Kazi?
He's dead now.
Yeah, he's dead now. But yeah, I liked those 2 supporting characters, and I
hope the LARPers get their own spinoff.
They might. They'll probably show up if they do another Hawkeye season.
Everyone will get their own spinoff on Disney Plus before it's all said and done.
It's so bad.
It is.
Each show has like a spinoff for like 5 other shows.
They're gonna do a Hawkeye.
I still do not understand how Agatha Harkness is getting a spinoff TV show.
Well,
like, what the fuck?
You're gonna know soon.
Yeah, in the next year or so.
Yeah, Dirk said that the music from WandaVision was really good, which is true. It was
Yeah.
pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, overall, like, the shows have been subpar, but this one was surprising for me because I wasn't expecting a lot out of it. I was just expecting to see Kingpin, and at least I got that, which I was excited
I
about, and more.
disagreed. I disagreed saying the shows have been subpar. I've enjoyed the shows. Um, like even Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like I was always excited to watch it. The
In
only one I thought
hindsight,
that
for
the
me,
only one that was subpar for me was What
what
If.
if?
That was beyond subpar for me, as we've talked about.
I guess I mean, like, it just in hindsight, like, when I think about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, yeah, it was fun watching them when it came out, but it's not something I would go back and watch again.
It's similar to Phase One. Like they're growing, they're learning
Exactly what I was
what they're
thinking.
doing.
These
That's a
all
good
feel
point.
like Phase 1 movies where it's like it's
They're
nowhere near where they get.
they're just a little more. They're more ambitious than the Phase One movies were. But as far as like quality and like learning how to fucking do this in this medium, it's very Phase One ish. So I think
Yeah.
they'll get better as it goes along. They have to learn how to pace for this many episodes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
Good point.
if you compare Marvel to like other TV shows, I think there's a lot of other TV shows that do it better. But Marvel's got the IP, and they
Yeah.
can ride the IP. But I don't know. I'll continue watching this stuff, but I'm starting to get kind of tired of the shows. It may be too
Well,
much.
we don't. The good thing
Getting
is we
some
don't even
fatigue.
know when the next one airs. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's going to be.
And that's Miss Marvel, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if She-Hulk comes before,
Hmm.
just because we know Ms. Marvel is until summer, and I'd be surprised if there's this long a gap between them. So it wouldn't shock me if like we get a She-Hulk in March, but maybe She-Hulk doesn't end up coming out till the fall. Isn't
Yeah, I'd
there's
be
three?
surprised about
What
that.
is there? 3 shows this year?
What's the other?
Well, it's those two. I think that
Miss
Groot
Marvel,
one.
She-Hulk, and Moon Knight. Is Moon Knight this year?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
And
I think.
that'll probably be their fall show.
Yeah.
And then we got the Groot little animated thing, whatever it is, the shorts, and then we got the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday
Yeah.
special at the end of the year.
Yeah, I would be shocked if She-Hulk came out. I mean, that'd be great, but I'd be shocked if that came out like early this year. I always thought that Miss Marvel was going to be the next one, which might shake
I mean,
things
maybe
up.
they'll be on a Star Wars kick for them. And after Boba Fett, I mean, it seems like Obi-Wan will probably be before Ms. Marvel. Like, for some reason, I'm picturing like a May debut for that one, like a traditional Star Wars release month. But and then we know Andor is like I think it's a Q3 show. So yeah, maybe they're just going to be more focused on this first half of the year with Star Wars.
Probably be smart. I mean,
and the Bad Batch, we know that's returning this year too.
Yeah, they bombarded us with Marvel Disney Plus shows this past year.
It was a steady stream for an entire year almost.
Yeah, they should take a little bit of a break. I think a couple month break would do them good.
Yeah, and we don't have another movie from them until May also.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all
right.
Look forward to the break.
Yeah, no, breaks are good. Breaks get you more excited for the return. I don't want to get burnt out this quickly from just 1 year of their TV shows.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Get burnt out.
Yeah. Well, let's get to a franchise that it was not possible to get burnt out of recently because there hasn't been an installment in 18 years. And that's The Matrix Resurrections. This was one that we definitely did get burnt out of in 2003 when they put 2 sequels out, the Animatrix, the anime special, and the video game Enter the Matrix. They went all in on 2003, and people frankly got tired of it due to quality control and various other things. But it is back. Unfortunately, people are apparently still tired of it since it did not perform at the box office. It's gotten very mixed reviews, similar to, I think, even more passionate than Don't Look Up. It's either you love it, you hate it. Granted, were the exact words I used for Don't Look Up. Maybe Don't Look Up is you like it or you don't like it. But this is Matrix is a love it or hate it type movie.
Is it really love or hate with this? I didn't see people that despised it.
Yeah,
People that hated it.
I don't
really.
I don't fall into either of those camps.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was like I liked it or I was disappointed. Not I hate it or
seeing like the movies just like it's not for me, like way too meta and shit like that.
That's fair.
Well, a lot of like channels and stuff are doing their like worst movies of 2021 top 10, and like this one is pretty consistently in people's like worst movies of 2021.
I do not agree with that at all. Not in the least.
All right, Corey, you're the passionate one right now. Share your thoughts.
I mean, I guess to your point, like the movie was very meta, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed how it deconstructed the idea of like a sequel, and the idea of a Matrix sequel. Like it just completely subverted that whole idea in a very interesting way, and used it to make a pseudo reboot of the Matrix movies. I just thought it was very clever with the way that it was designed. It wasn't perfect in any way, but I enjoyed it. I loved the new characters. Jessica Henwick was definitely by far my favorite character, favorite new character that popped up. Yahya Abdul-Mateen was awesome. Even the rest of the crew on the ship, I enjoyed. I don't really remember their names. They weren't really.
Yeah, they weren't really defined for me. I don't really have thoughts for them.
Like, and I think that was
I thought they did a really good job in the first Matrix movie of like making you like know who all the crew members was, and they didn't do very good job in this one.
Yeah, but they weren't. They didn't stand out as bad or good. They were just there. Mm-hmm. They didn't kill the movie. They didn't make the movie better. Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss, I thought, were fantastic. Carrie-Anne Moss didn't have a lot to do, I don't think. Like, her performance was good, but her character wasn't much different. But I did like what they did with Thomas Anderson, Neo. I liked how Keanu Reeves played the character. Again, like, he played it in such a way where it was, like, subverting the idea of what Neo was. And just struggling with like this really fucked up situation that he was in, like, you know, being put back into the Matrix. I thought it was a lot of fun. I didn't think, and it's not even that I was looking for this, but especially after watching the old movies again, like the action was definitely not nearly as good as the older ones, I think. Mm-hmm. Maybe not as good, but not as innovative.
It wasn't innovative at all.
It was fun. Like the action was fun, but I think maybe a lot of people maybe were expecting another like really groundbreaking movie, and it really wasn't.
Expecting what the boardroom talked about in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't that, and it didn't try to be that.
And they're talking about what people are going to want from the Matrix 4.
Yeah. And it did the complete opposite of what people would have wanted, even though it was completely impossible. There's no way that they would be able to one-up the Matrix, the original. It's not possible. Mm-hmm. That movie was groundbreaking in so many different ways when it came out. It's just not going to happen. So the way that they did it, it makes sense that it made people angry, to me, because it was not what people were expecting and not what people wanted, but they weren't trying to do that in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, Lana Wachowski clearly made the movie she wanted to make. Didn't give a fuck about what fans wanted. It's an anti-fan service.
Like, who did she make the movie for? Like, herself?
She made it for her.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she made it for herself.
She also just like the two of them
for the fans.
Yeah, I mean, the two of them clearly made the sequels for themselves too.
Mm-hmm. And I enjoy the sequels more now than I did when they came out. I actually like them a lot
because they are not like a traditional like action movie sequel in any sense of the word. And this isn't a traditional legacy sequel at all, which is what, like, I went on my rant yesterday about fan service, or maybe that was earlier tonight. I can't remember. I don't remember. Everything blurs into one another. I think I ran about fan service a lot. The fact that this movie was the opposite of that, I dug. like, yes, Spider-Man was fan service, and I like Spider-Man more, which we'll get to. But I've talked about the difference between earned fan service and just fan service for fan service, like Boba Fett and the Ghostbusters versus, you have those two, and then you have earned fan service with Spider-Man, and then you have we're doing what we want to do. Like, sorry, and I respect that more. Like a filmmaker making the movie they want to make. I think it's more interesting.
Yeah, no,
I mean, it doesn't always work because the Matrix sequels 2 and 3 did not work for me.
I thought this one worked a lot more than the sequels.
So yes, I thought this one worked a lot more.
Yeah.
Did she want to make it for herself though? I don't know. It felt like she didn't even want to make this movie.
I mean,
well, kind of from what I understand, she knew Warner Brothers was going to be making another one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically the friggin' they like say that in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, Warner Brothers is going to make the movie without, so it's make the video game without you, like with or without you.
Exactly. And then
it's like, okay, this is like,
and they're going to make more. They've said that they want to make more. So
they say that, but I think that might have just been bluster while the movie was tanking.
Maybe that was like the goal of this movie is to make sure that Warner Brothers can't make another Matrix movie.
Maybe, or maybe they just go in a completely opposite direction.
Yeah, they could. They could just, go with new characters. I mean, they could do whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you have a Matrix movie without Keanu Reeves or like really. I mean, really, Keanu Reeves is the most important. But I mean, as this movie made clear, it's been very much been a twofer about Neo and Trinity. So yeah, I mean, I think you need Carrie-Anne Moss as well. What did you think about the new actors playing returning characters or playing not necessarily returning characters, but similar characters to ones in the past, like Neil Patrick Harris playing someone kind of similar to the architect in like his role as like an exposition type of character. And then you had Smith, now played by Jonathan Groff, and Yahya Amitine II as Morpheus.
NPH definitely, I like him. I liked him a lot more as this version of, I guess, like that architect character, than the architect from the last two movies. Like he did a great job. Like he was a villain. He was charismatic. Like he was fun to watch at any time that he was on. His character was way more interesting than just like, I guess like exposition. I mean, he was used as exposition, but like in a
he wasn't
fun way.
But yeah, he's charismatic versus like an old fucking Kentucky Fried Chicken guy, just like exposition dumping all over the screen for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
in The Matrix Reloaded.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that guy's good in like anything. Like he can make any role, fun. But I liked how he initially, I mean, it's still stuck throughout. Like he was Morpheus, and like when you first saw him, like he did like a lot of like the Morpheus like quips, like the Lawrence Fishburne quips, and like they came up here and there. But like as the movie went on, he kind of like turned into his own version of the character, which was cool. And Jonathan Groff I liked. I think I said this to you, Murph. Like I enjoyed his performance in the movie, but I didn't really like that he was playing Smith. I know like it makes sense for the story, but I kept comparing him to Hugo Weaving, and I didn't want to do that. Like because he was doing a great job like as this villain. Like he was fun to watch. I thought he was really good, but then I kept comparing him to, Hugo Weaving, which he's Agent Smith. He killed it. So I don't know. That kind of like, took wind out of my sails a little bit, a couple times. But I didn't think anyone was, in any way terrible. I thought they all brought it for the most part.
Doug, what about you in regards to like the new characters or the new actors playing old characters?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really like it. I mean, I'm lower on this movie than you guys are. I don't have as much positive things to say about it. I'm someone that would have liked to see more action, or like action
better action.
Yeah, like it doesn't have to be groundbreaking, but like some cool kung fu fights would have been cool. A camera that doesn't have 1,000 or a fight scene that doesn't have 1,000 cuts in it would have been nice. So I could follow what's going on and not feel like I'm watching some shitty action movie. Um, but I guess I didn't really care for the new characters that playing the old characters just because they didn't. There was nothing about them that felt like their original character, and so that just to me it was almost felt kind of pointless that they even identified them as like the old character or some version of the old character because there was nothing about them that really seemed the same. I mean, yeah, you had Yaya like deliver like one or two lines in the same way that Lawrence Fishburne delivered it, and then he was like, "Yeah, I'm just kidding. Like, I don't talk like that."
Yeah.
And it just kind of felt like I don't know. It felt weird to me. I would have preferred if they're just like, "Hey, he's a new computer program character, and he's here to help you, and he's not Lawrence Fishburne. He's not based off of Lawrence Fishburne." Kind of feel the same way about Jonathan Groff's character. Where just like doesn't feel like Smith. Like nothing about him felt like Agent Smith. Like even if he's not giving the Hugo Weaving delivery, like it was like the opposite of the delivery for Agent Smith. Agent Smith is very um kind of like monotone, like a just kind of feels like an FBI agent. Um and Groff gives this like over the top kind of performance. It's very showy.
Yeah,
And
he gave a
which is him.
yeah, which
style.
I thought the performance was great and I liked him as a villain. I guess I'm with Corey on that where I just like don't make him Agent Smith then. Like if you can't get Hugo Weaving, just
And they did some cringy things that I didn't like, where it was like throwing it in your face, like with his fight with Neo, where it was clearly supposed to look like the fight in the subway from the first movie, and like he did like in time, like you can call out when he was gonna like punch open one of the columns. It's like, oh, that's gonna happen. Oh no, he's gonna do his move where he punches him really fast and it looks really slow, and that kind of stuff like kind of was a little cringy, especially for that character. I didn't really remember. I don't think they did anything like that with Yaya, but Groff they definitely did.
well,
yeah.
does like a couple of the scenes. Like he does in the bathroom stall, he does like
Yeah,
the line, and I think he does the pills and like similar
Mhm.
delivery.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the Smith stuff because, like, ultimately, like, I guess it's a computer program, so like, I considered it like a 21st century upgrade of like a villain, like going from like a fucking monotone FBI agent to like a more like flamboyant pretty boy businessman as like the 21st century villain. I didn't have a problem with that. Like, yeah, his character wasn't very like crazy similar or anything, but it still had like enough of that connection. I thought he did good as this version of Smith, but yes, he did not do it good. If the goal of it was to be playing Hugo Weaving's version of Smith, then yeah, like it wasn't a good like performance. And then yeah, Morpheus, like yeah, by the second half of the movie, I wasn't even really thinking about like Morpheus, like from the original trilogy or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was just like, yeah, this is like a computer program that like kind of like has small similarities to him. But it's very much not Morpheus that as
Yeah.
played as a human by
Neo made a computer program that was black and ball, but nothing like that was it. That was the only thing that was like similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and he was originally created as an Agent Smith. He wasn't even created as Morpheus.
Yeah.
Like when the movie starts, he's like in that Smith role, and then like
Right.
turns into Morpheus.
Well, the one thing
and
That's
at
the
that
other
point,
weird thing.
I was
is
like,
it's
"What the hell's going on in this movie?" Like,
Yeah.
they're fucking ripping like the opening of the first movie.
I was so confused the first time we watched that. I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Yeah.
Even so, one thing now I'm thinking about it now, and it still kind of confuses me, and maybe it's just like a throwaway line, but someone says that Morpheus, like Neo, made Morpheus. This Morpheus, the modal, I guess. He was like a combination of Smith and Morpheus, and I didn't see that at all. Like Yaya didn't do anything that seemed like Smith at all. It just seemed kind of like a throwaway type of line just to connect things even more. Like his most like loved friend and his most hated enemy. We're gonna combine them into one character. And he's
The
gonna
only
throw
time
them-
he seemed like Smith was the very beginning, where
exactly.
he
Yeah.
had the exact same line delivery as Hugo
Mhm.
Weaving and everything.
Yeah, like they're already dead or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, that was strange. The whole movie was pretty strange in a lot of ways. It kept surprising me. I thought it was a fun ride. I've watched it again and I enjoyed it more the second time.
Yeah, I plan on watching it again before it leaves HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't watched it, it is on HBO Max for the next couple weeks.
I saw as we're talking about HBO Max, Reminiscence came back.
Ooh.
So make sure to go check that one
The
out.
one movie I didn't watch
yeah.
on Warner Brothers 2021 slate, Reminiscence.
It's back.
Yeah, Last
Catch
Duel is
it
going to be
out.
coming on there soon too.
I will
You get
continue to
watch that.
not watch it. But yeah, the way the movie ends, like it clearly could set up more. I don't think we're going to get more though. I'm not like upset about the fact that we're not going to get more.
I don't need any more.
I'm cool with a one-off sequel.
Yeah.
I would definitely watch more if they made more, but I'm fine with this one bookending kind of in a similar way to the way the original Matrix ended.
I think it would be cool if they did more in the universe or in any form of Matrix universe. Do a show. Do something different. Do like a streaming show. Like, and maybe bring Lana back as like a producer or something, and just like do new characters. Because the Matrix
I think just kill it, let it die.
The idea of the Matrix is fun.
There's
I
no
think.
need to resurrect it again. Like just let it die.
All right, Doug. Thanks.
Yeah. Just bury it like it's through.
Now, Keanu can continue to just do John Wick for the next decade. I know he wants to redo Constantine. He wants to do a sequel to that.
We're not getting John Wick 4.
Maybe we'll eventually get Speed. We'll eventually get Speed 3, maybe.
Oh my God, yes!
That's the one I'm waiting for. Him and Sandra Bullock to return and do a Speed 3
and bring back Willem Dafoe.
No. Willem Dafoe's got to just continue doing Spider-Man stuff. But yeah, it seems like John Wick's his franchise at this point. He's returned to his Bill and Ted. He said goodbye to that franchise. He said goodbye to the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
And now he'll just continue to do John Wick.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and supposedly he's doing The Devil in the White City with Scorsese and Leo producing that, I guess, a TV show. So that's kind of cool. And he's in the Super Pets, the DC Super Pets movie coming out this summer.
That's lovely.
Yeah. So
love Keanu.
He's got plenty of stuff to do.
He donated 70% of his salary to cancer research. He's the man.
He is a good man.
Salary for this movie.
One of the good guys in Hollywood.
Yeah.
All right. Since we've mentioned Willem Dafoe, let's get into Spider-Man. Spider-Man No Way Home, the third installment in the Home trilogy of Spider-Man. As everyone in the world knows at this point, this is a multiverse story bringing back tons of the villains from the Raimi and Webb trilogy or series, since one was a trilogy, one was a duology. Spoiler alert, we're going to talk spoilers throughout. Granted, based on the amount of money this movie has made, if you are listening to this, you've likely seen the movie already or have been spoiled, but we do want to acknowledge that we will be talking spoilers, so I'll give you a second to turn this off if you have not, and then I will get right back into talking about this movie.
Trying to talk about this movie without spoiling would be so hard.
A waste of time.
It would be hard.
It'd be a boring conversation.
It's like, yeah, so Spider-Man, Peter Parker, he's in this movie, and so is Doctor Strange.
Yeah, but let's get into it. As you know, if you've seen the trailers, this movie is starting immediately where Far From Home left off, where Peter Parker's been outed as Spider-Man. Mysterio has framed Spider-Man for the death of Mysterio via J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson reporting it for the Daily Bugle, which is now a Alex Jones type basement fucking far right network. We've got Pete dealing with all that, the fallout with that his friends are now dealing with as well from being associated with Peter Parker, namely Aunt May, Ned, and MJ. And then from that, he gets in touch with Doctor Strange, wants him to fix the situation by having everyone forget that he's Spider-Man. Spell messes up. It brings in characters from the other universe. That's probably what everyone has an idea about so far. But from there, it gets very into the Spider-Verse, where the original two Spider-Men, played by Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, come into the fray as well. And we finally get to see what people have been clamoring for a long time, which is a continuation of Tobey Maguire, which we never got with Spider-Man 4. We went on a shitty note with Spider-Man 3. So we get to find out what's happened to his character. We get to see what happens with Andrew Garfield post the death of Gwen Stacy, since that movie or that two-part series does have a pretty large fan base, at least online, that would have liked to see a part 3. But since Sony really botched those plans, they went to the MCU and Kevin Feige to help them, which led to Tom Holland becoming Spider-Man. And then, we got returns of some of the best superhero villains of all time, with Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, and Alfred Molina returning as Doc Ock, Otto Octavius, along with Thomas Hayden Church returning as Sandman, Rhys Ifans returning as Lizard, and Jamie Foxx returning as Electro. Not all these villains are created equal. Some of them were very much panned at the time, so some of them are getting second shots, and some of them are getting a chance to show that they haven't missed a beat. But yeah, guys, this went in. I know I put this as my number one most anticipated movie of the year when we started out 2021 on this program. I think if I remember correctly, it ended up as number 1 or number 2 overall among the 4 of us, with JP. How did it live up to expectations?
I mean, for me, I think it definitely exceeded the expectations. Surprisingly, like I tried to temper my expectations as much as possible.
Same.
And I mean, I was always really excited about it, but I didn't watch like the trailers like a billion times. Like I definitely dove into like a lot of the speculation with returning characters, but it seemed so obvious that these characters, as time went on this year, especially, what characters were actually returning and the proof that was popping up all over the internet. I mean, it was just hilarious, like how it got to a point where these actors were probably dying with the damage control that they were just trying to do with trying to keep, the facade up with a lot of these, these rumors that ended up being true. But
yeah, poor Andrew Garfield was out
oh
trying
my
to promote
God.
all of his movies this year, and everyone's just like, we don't care about whatever movie's coming out. Like, are you in the new Spider-Man?
So I liked his comment when he mentioned it, like he's like, no, it's a deep fake. And I was like, man, this guy's really like, he's doing a really good job trying to like dodge this media.
Yeah, there was websites that like do deep fakes and stuff that were like, there was no way this is deep fake. It's like not possible to do a deep fake this well.
So lucky for Tobey Maguire, he had nothing to promote this year.
Yeah, thankfully.
He hasn't done any. This was his first movie since Great Gatsby back in 2013.
That's actually pretty crazy. But yeah, as a whole, like I tried for this movie, I tried not to like dive into like the speculation with the actual film as much. I mean, I did a little bit. But as a whole, I think it actually somehow exceeded my expectations. Like it was really, really good. Like on so many levels. Like the pacing was great. It was lengthy, like it should be. It didn't feel drawn out.
Didn't feel lengthy though.
I thought
it went like quick. I was like,
yeah, I definitely thought it went quick.
The pacing was good. The pacing was good. Like it was a lengthy movie, but it definitely didn't feel long. The action was great. Like the characters
Shortened
were.
compared to Avengers Endgame.
This is true. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have like any complaints. Like I've only seen the movie once. I definitely need to see it again.
Same.
Yeah, I only saw it
But
once too.
the stuff that has definitely stuck with me is all of the unbelievably clever meta jokes that they've included in the movie, like harking back to like memes and stuff of like characters. Like there was one that I didn't even realize during the movie, like when they're all pointing at each other, like all the Spider-Man. Like it's clearly pointing back to that meme
Yeah.
where the cartoons with them pointing at, like there's Easter eggs like
Which
that.
they already did at the end of Spider-Verse too, which harkens
Yeah.
back to what we were talking about of this being
Yeah.
like a remake of Spider-Verse.
Yeah. So I guess like it is a rehash. It's just I enjoyed a lot of those Easter eggs, and I'm sure like there's more that because I've only seen the movie once that I didn't pick up on. Willem Dafoe was way better than I could have even imagined. Like he killed it as he ended up being like the main villain.
Yeah, as
And-
it
I
should.
thought that was fitting.
yeah.
Original Spider-Man villain,
But-
Spider-Man's biggest adversary.
I was not expecting that, and like he was a little different. Like he played him more,
I thought
menacingly.
it was a lot different.
Yeah,
Like he had the similar voice, but he was not nearly as like hammy with it.
He was very Gollum-esque.
Yeah,
Gollum-esque in this movie, both in when he was Norman and he was like clearly suffering and not wanting to be like a villain,
yeah.
and when he was fucking super villain and like
the
Green
Gollum thing is
Goblin.
like making me laugh with just like my precious.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell that he had a chip on his shoulder, which a lot of these actors did, I'm sure, and that's why they came back and did these these roles again.
Yeah,
But
Jamie Foxx definitely did.
Yeah, but he had a chip on his shoulder because like even though he's beloved as this character, like he was hammy. Like it is what it is. So he wanted to do the same character, but in a more menacing like way. He definitely had control to like do what he wanted with the character, which was awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he was also like it's a different movie. Like the
Right,
Sam Raimi
right.
movie was like more of a hammy,
Right.
campy movie, so it made sense. Versus this movie, I think he played the character right to the feel of this movie. And getting rid of that mask, that
that was
mask
huge.
Was huge. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the stupidest thing they did in the Raimi movies was put his expressive face behind that mask.
Yeah, and something this trilogy's done from the start is having their villains actually be like menacing people. Like Keaton comes across super menacing in the limo in the car scene, especially in Homecoming. Gyllenhaal does a good job of making you think like he has no qualms with like killing his kid if he has to. So that's been a consistent thing with them that I think they've probably done better than in the original movies. And like Doug said, I mean, a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're Sam Raimi movies. Like he's ultimately got like a touch of corn to like all his films, like cheese. But yeah, fucking Dafoe killed it.
One thing that I was thinking about the other day that I thought was funny, like we were speculating, like how Doctor Strange wasn't Doctor Strange, and like we were completely off base with that.
Oh yeah, we were very wrong.
Completely wrong. Like it ended up being Doctor Strange, but like a lot of, even though the Scooby-Doo line was there, it played differently. Like, did you notice how like it was?
I think it was a different delivery.
It was
definitely
different
delivery.
It wasn't the same.
He was cursing versus the Scooby-Doo this crap became Scooby-Doo this shit, like in a pissed off tone.
Yeah.
They gave you bad takes in the fucking trailers. Yeah. And I don't know if it was intentional misdirection, but I still believe we had reasons to believe that it was an off performance.
Yeah.
Versus he gave a very good performance throughout this film.
Exactly. And I thought that was like really funny. I mean, I wouldn't give it to Sony for actually trying to, misdirect us. I think they just, took a different take at the end of the day. But yeah, it was definitely, those are like the standouts for me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Dafoe, standout, definitely. Molina killed it as well as Doc Ock.
Mhm.
I mean, he didn't get the prime villain performance, so like it's tough to beat Defoe. But he did a fantastic job with like his whole redemption arc that they didn't get to fully explore in Spider-Man 2, which I was happy to see. Other standouts for me: Tom Holland, Andrew
Mm.
Garfield,
Yep.
and probably Zendaya. I thought she gave her best performance as MJ so far.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
What
Andrew
about
Garfield.
Marissa Tomei?
Oh yeah. Marissa Tomei was very good
She's
as well.
always good. She's always
She
good.
got her Uncle Ben moment
She did.
in this one.
I thought that played better for me than any Uncle Ben moment
Mhm.
has it played in any of the past movies.
It
Yeah.
yeah, because
It was
I think it
shocking.
played better because it like he was I don't know, they dwelled on it for like a while. Like
Mhm.
he like really had to watch her suffer and die.
And we got to like it was so different about it too, like outside of like dwelling, like we got to know the character.
Yes,
Like
over
usually
3
it's like,
movies.
oh
4
hey, here's
movies.
Uncle Ben. Oh, Uncle Ben's dead.
Mhm.
And like this, we got to know the character, and then we all know like the comic book story, like Uncle Ben's gonna die.
Yeah.
Whereas like Aunt May doesn't die in the stories in the comics. So like it's you get like just as Peter doesn't expect it, like we're not expecting it either.
Exactly.
And
If
so
this
it's
was
kind of like a gut punch.
the normal situation, she would have died with the amount of screen time she had in Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
She gets her like 1 or 2 scenes, and she would have been dead.
Mhm.
Instead, she got an entire trilogy plus that performance. I don't think she. Oh, and was she in? I think she was in Endgame for like a 1 second at Tony Stark's funeral, but didn't have a line. But yeah, she just got a lot to do throughout the course of this series. It was cool seeing her get the great with great power comes great responsibility line.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was perfect because like I don't know, I just assumed that we like skipped over that part
Mhm.
of Peter's like he already had it, and so it was cool to like see him finally get the. I mean, because that's like what makes Spider-Man is like that line,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like so like it
This
was cool to see him like finally get that and become, I guess, Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like this trilogy was his origin story.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we always talked about how we never got to see his origin story. Yeah, we didn't get to see him get bit by a spider, create the webs or anything like that. But by the end of this film, that's when he becomes the Spider-Man that we are used to
Mhm.
from what 40 minutes into Spider-Man 1 or 40 minutes into The Amazing Spider-Man, where he's got like he's all alone. He's fucking broke. Nobody knows he's Spider-Man. He's dealt with the death of a relative. He's not doesn't have that relationship with MJ anymore or anything like that. It's never started based on the situation that goes down in this, where everyone forgets he's Peter Parker, or everyone forgets who Peter Parker is, and yeah, he has to develop his suit all over again. He's not dealing with he doesn't have all the Avengers fucking suits and all that crazy tech that he's had throughout these 3 movies. Um,
Yeah,
it was
it
cool
was
how
cool.
like they deceptively did this. But I don't think it was in the plans
I was gonna
all
say I
along
don't
or
know that they
anything like
like
that.
Yeah, no, it
plotted
I
this
definitely
don't
out,
wasn't.
but
remotely
like whoever
think
had the
that.
idea of like let's
Yeah.
just start from like let's just make him like Spider-Man in the comics, like forget all this tech he has
Mhm.
and just let him be Spider-Man and let him have the moment of great power comes great responsibility, and like I just hope they stick with it.
So do I. Yes, I
Yeah.
don't hope immediately in the next movie like everyone
Everyone
remembers
remembers.
again and
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
because
That
it
a
would
felt like
sour it.
full-fledged Avenger that like gets everything handed to him.
Yeah, that would completely
That's
sour
not
the whole
Peter
thing.
Parker. Like he's
yeah,
got to struggle. Like he's an everyman who goes through shit, and that's why the characters people like him.
it
Yeah.
feels like this movie I was thinking about, it kind of felt like the end of Dark Knight for me, where I was like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, like he's Batman
Yeah.
now, like can't wait to see like him be Batman, and then they were just like he retired and
yeah,
he wasn't that like
yeah.
you kind of don't get like it has that promise that it never like felt like it lived up to. So I hope they don't do the same thing. And it's
Yeah,
just
I
like
want him to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in the next chapter of the trilogy.
Yeah, do another trilogy where he's just like back to basics.
Yeah, and by the end of the trilogy, you got to introduce Miles, and you're going to set up Miles for the post Tom Holland years.
Now,
that's what they got to do.
Do they bring back Zendaya? Like, does she remember?
You have to bring back everyone. Like,
does everyone remember eventually, or no? Or does he build the relationships again?
He's got to like earn it back. I think it can't just be like, oh, I remember you. Like, we're together.
No,
again.
I don't want that. But I wonder if they flip that switch at some point, or if it's literally just him like going through the motions.
If they flip it, I think they have to wait at least until the second movie.
Yeah.
To do it.
Yeah, agreed.
After he's already won them back.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I definitely think Zendaya comes back. And Jacob Batalon.
I think he might end up being a villain. I could see him.
Yeah, I mean, he could end up becoming Hobgoblin.
Yeah.
You could bring Donald Glover back to be Prowler. Like, there's plenty of people. Like, you could do a new Sinister Six with the villains that they've already introduced in the Homecoming movies. You could have Scorpion. Michael Mando is him in Homecoming. Shocker's not dead. There's a lot they can still do with Peter Parker in this new trilogy.
Do you think that? Do you guys think that we're gonna get a like a legacy film for Andrew Garfield or for Tobey Maguire? You think Sony's gonna do that?
Wouldn't surprise me.
I would be all about
I never would have thought it prior to this movie, but now they'll fucking give so much money to Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield to come back.
I think Andrew Garfield at least should just give him that legacy film and then have it follow, like, you know, everything that happened after Gwen Stacy died. You know, obviously starts when he comes back from, you know, being in this movie, but like touch upon all that and then, you know, just make it fun. I mean, it's such a great opportunity where they can just
bring Spider-Gwen into it, throw her in for another alt universe, and you could have Emma Stone back.
Yep.
And then, like, the Spider-Man trilogy were all massive hits. Like, Spider-Man 4 would have been fucking massive as well. Like, people love those characters. So, yeah, I mean, I want to see Kirsten Dunst back dealing and with Tobey Maguire and his Peter B. Parker days.
I don't need to see that.
It's just cool how they set it up now, where they can legitimately just have like one-off movies that, you know, just pick up where things ended, and it's not going to really. I mean, I guess it could, you know, have ramifications with this, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to at all. It could just be its own thing.
There's no reason why they can't have a Spider-Verse series going on at the same time as a home second trilogy going on, as a one-off Amazing Spider-Man movie and a one-off Spider-Man trilogy movie. People are fine with multiple versions of characters at the same time. We are learning that. We are going to be dealing with it big time this year with fucking Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, just in the past year, we had Ben Affleck's Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now we're going to be having Robert Pattinson's Batman, and we're going to be having Michael Keaton come back as Batman in the same movie as Ben Affleck's Batman in a DCU EU one. So people they're fine. They'll see what they want to see, and like people are smarter than you think. They can do multiple.
Must make it easier on the studios too. Now that they're like, oh man, we can kind of have fun with this and just bring back legacy actors and play their old characters and, like, you know, mix and match and not have to just focus on like one version for like the year.
Whether it's for a movie or whether it's for just like a quick scene, like. Don't be shocked when we end up seeing Chris Evans as Human Torch at some point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely going to
happen.
In
the MCU. It will probably happen at some point.
Yeah.
Probably be something quick, but we're going to see lots of that. Don't be surprised if we see Ben Affleck as Daredevil at some point. I mean, we have to talk about Daredevil. We've got him officially back. We've got Charlie Cox's Daredevil from the Netflix series back. Don't be surprised if we eventually see him and Ben Affleck in the same scene together. Nothing is off the table at this point. Like, especially when you're looking at how much money these movies are making.
Yeah. I hope he's really back, Matt Murdock.
Oh, no, he's definitely back. They said that he is the MCU's Daredevil.
Well, they said that, but then they may never make another Daredevil thing.
I think they will.
I hope
He's
He's a
so.
popular character.
Yeah.
He might not get his own like individual thing, but he's like a character that adds a lot of value to whatever
Yeah.
you throw him in.
Rumor
I
he's
hope
an
he's
he's an
not just
Echo.
like some side. I was gonna say I hope he's not some side character in Echo. I feel like he deserves a show over Echo.
He might get one.
Yeah, I mean, if he
But-
is, I mean, he's gonna be more than a side. He'd be like the mentor figure, I would imagine.
I heard that show is like a it's
he'd
like
be
a
like the
Trojan
Hawkeye
horse.
character.
Yeah.
Like Florence Pugh is the star of Hawkeye, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But the show is named after Jeremy Renner's character.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
what
I
were you
heard.
saying, Corey?
No, I just heard that Echo is like kind of a Trojan horse for like another Daredevil season. Like it's basically that more than just like a new show for a new character. It's kind of just bringing him back. But we'll see if that rumor ends up being true, like all the others.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
it
most
seems
of the
like-
rumors for this movie ended up being true, just like
Yeah.
most of the rumors for Hawkeye ended up being true. And I don't know, were there really many other rumors this year for other shows?
There were WandaVision, but those were all
Oh yeah,
completely wrong.
WandaVision were all wrong. Falcon and Winter Soldier were all wrong. Loki ended up being right. People were not exactly right because it wasn't
Yeah.
Kang. It was a different version of Kang.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a Kang.
Yes,
backdoor
they
Kang.
knew that the actor, like they got the fact the actor.
Yeah,
was
that
in
he
it.
was playing.
And it was ultimately a way of getting Kang into the MCU.
Yeah.
So yes, there's been a lot right this year, which is annoying. I preferred like be going in more in the dark as we did for phases 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
If it was this world now, we would have known about everyone disappearing in Infinity War
Mm-hmm.
a year before the movie came out.
But I don't expect
and
anything.
Tony dying the way Tony did in Endgame.
I don't expect anything different from Sony. They're terrible.
Yeah, I was gonna
at this.
say Sony's the issue.
Yeah.
It's not just Sony. We just talked about Loki and Hawkeye. It's Disney.
Yeah, I guess.
It's something is going on right now where Marvel Studios is letting a lot of things out the door.
Yeah.
And yes, Sony's fucking terrible.
They got to get rid of that intern.
Whatever the fuck was going on with all those photos coming out and the trailer leaking.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's not pretend that the Ultron trailer didn't leak back in the day.
I do remember that.
They have leaked some significant things in the past.
That was a long time before too. That was like New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic-Con, wasn't it? It leaked?
No, it was
like the year before.
Yeah, it was like November of 2014. It was like when the big trailer came out for it, the first big trailer, and it leaked online like the day before they were going to put it on ABC during Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
They're still not marketing the Spider-Man movie with the different Spider-Man, right?
I haven't seen any marketing for it.
Yeah, that's true. No, I haven't either.
Surprising. I thought they would be promoting that, but I guess it's got good enough word of mouth.
How could you possibly not get spoiled by that at this point?
I had a coworker I talked to today that was like,
that's amazing to me.
Hasn't seen it yet. Has no idea what the movie's about. He's gonna go see it on Sunday.
Oh wow,
that's fantastic.
He's in for a fucking treat.
Yeah.
I mean, what I was a little bit surprised about with this movie was that the characters would be like that. The other Spider-Men were in the movie for as long as they were.
Yeah,
I thought they would be more of like a cameo or like a final fight. They would pop in.
Yeah, instead of like 40% of the movie.
And they were in like way more than I had expected, and it was way more fun to have them in the movie than I expected it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that to be a nice surprise, and the movie to me hits its best stride is when they like show up and they're all together and they're sharing like the similarities, and they have that scene where they just like steal it straight from Into the Spider-Verse, where they all talk about how they all have their own like Uncle Ben moment.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is
we were talking about yesterday, like teasing yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it was just as good as when Spider-Verse did it, but this movie was very inspired by Spider-Verse, but managed to do its own thing. Like it still felt different. It felt fresh.
Yeah. I mean, the characters still felt like they did in the Raimi movies or the Mark Webb movies, while having tweaks to them, like we said, to make the characters better in some cases than they were. before when they kind of were failed by either their writers or their directors or Sony.
What was the we all saw this movie in theaters, and like what was the big like oh shit moment for
Andrew Garfield.
yeah, that's what I think it was too. When the thing opens up, right?
Yeah,
And
when
you're
they start
like
opening the portals.
you're like you can kind of you're like, is that him? Is it him? And then he like slowly starts walking closer.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah,
oh shit.
the big ones were probably that was the biggest. Then I would say him saving MJ was the second biggest. Then either Toby or Charlie Cox. I'd say those were probably the four biggest ones in the movie.
Yeah, I heard a lot of like applause when Cox like they show that Cox is there, and then like a lot of applause when he like catches the brick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a fun movie to watch in theaters.
Like you said you thought the movie like elevated once the original, like the other Spider-Man appeared. Definitely think it went to a second, like another level at that point. But I thought it really, the first time I thought it really leveled up was when like Doc Ock appeared.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought the movie, like while entertaining, was going at a kind of a breakneck pace for the first half an hour in dealing with everything that happened after Far From Home. Like a little bit too fast. And then once the multiverse, that whole thing opened up and it kind of slowed down and got into that part of the story, that's where I thought the movie really took off. And then, yeah, once Andrew Garfield, once the triple whammy of MA dying and Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire appearing, like that was all within a 5-minute span, 10-minute span at most.
Yeah.
That's when it really went
to me.
To
That's when that movie
another
like
level.
hit its stride. I found like I agree. It felt really fast, and then like the villains when they capture all the villains, and that kind of felt like it was fun, but it was like this kind of goofy.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, but I was still enjoying it, but I was just like, okay, this is what the movie's gonna be like. It's kind of goofy, but it's a fun ride. And then like once Aunt May dies, and it just like, like this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one scene that now that I'm remembering is the fight scene when Willem Dafoe, when Norman finally turns, and that fight scene that happens in the apartment with with Peter was awesome. That was like crazy when he like throws him through the floor. Like that was pretty wild. Like I was like, God damn. Like, cause he talk about a character that kind of had like a power up, compared to like Kingpin in Hawkeye. Like his power set was like way different. Like he was destroying him. And that was
cool.
He
definitely was stronger than he was in the Sam Raimi. Although he did have super strength in the Sam Raimi.
Yeah,
I thought even before the fighting scene, like that moment where like Tom Holland's spider sense is going off, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
and he's
everything
just like looking around, and like that just kind of that was kind of one of the most well done like spider sense moments that
Peter Tingle moments.
Peter Tingle
moments.
R.I.P. Aunt May.
Yeah, and speaking of other villains in regards to that scene, I thought Sandman's was done better in this one.
Yeah.
Just the way he was presented as a character. I mean, he still has the goofy, like I have a daughter, like he was still that character.
I thought that was like a joke.
Yeah, I think they treated
that might have been
more
like a joke, right?
Yeah,
like I have a daughter. Like he just said it like the one time, I think.
Yeah, and like, but the way that he was presented as Sam the entire time, but still at Thomas Hayden Church's body, like figure and voice and everything. I thought that worked better for the character than in Spider-Man 3. Jamie Foxx was definitely much better as Electro and way cooler looking.
Yeah.
As JP said, he kind of reminded him of Django at times. He very much was Jamie Foxx as a villain versus like the Jim Carrey Riddler type of performance he gave in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I think the only one who really didn't get much to do was Lizard. But still, I was like fine with the character the way like he was in this one.
I think he did enough, but yeah, he definitely didn't do a lot. But I liked him. It was cool seeing him again.
Trying to think of some other stuff that was. Flash was funny in the movie with him
He's
finding out
awesome.
about Peter. I enjoyed that. I think we've covered maybe all of the characters that at this
Jon
point.
Favreau had some really funny moments. A
Yeah,
couple like
yeah,
really
yeah.
funny moments.
I still enjoy seeing him in the movies.
Yeah.
The moment with him and Peter at the grave, with Happy and Peter at the grave at the end of Aunt May was a good scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of like sad because he
Yeah,
didn't like know who Peter was.
yeah. The new costume at the end of the movie is by far my favorite Spider-Man outfit in any of the movies. I cannot wait to see a full movie of that. So I better not fucking just like do it in the first scene and then he has a new costume.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks
I
cool.
love the look of that one.
I think
We
that
didn't
might
get
be
like
why
a
they didn't.
great look of it though.
Yeah, that's probably why. They're kind of teasing it, but it's very much like the really classic Spider-Man outfit from the comics, which is awesome.
None of us saw it in an IMAX or anything like that yet, right?
No, I wanted to.
No.
I haven't yet. I mean, it's going to be in theaters probably for a while, so maybe I'll catch
Yeah,
it.
it'll be in theaters until Uncharted, probably.
Yeah, so maybe I'll catch it over the next week or two again, and I'll go and see it in IMAX.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to see it again. This movie ended, and I literally could have purchased a
Just watched
ticket
it
and
again.
just like sat back down and watched it again. That's like
Mhm.
kind of how I felt. Like let's get out on the ride again.
Yeah, because these aren't cinema, Doug. This isn't cinema. This is a theme park ride.
Yeah.
It's a great theme park ride.
This has been
Strap in and-
widely fucking debated for the past 2 years. Thanks to Martin Scorsese. Tom Holland, the latest one to go to battle with Marty on via
Yeah.
interviews.
It's a trap.
Yeah. What my last question that I have, where would you rank this among the Spider-Man films?
Among the Spider-Man films,
And at this point, where would you put Tom Holland as Spider-Man? Spider-Man Peter Parker against all
I
the
mean,
other ones?
he's I'm gonna say like he's still probably my third favorite. I still like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire more than him, but I don't think that's ever gonna change for me. It has nothing to do with him. It's just like I just really like those versions of the character more. Movie wise, it's definitely up there. One of the best. I don't know where I would put it because I definitely need to see the movie at least once more because there were points where I was like, this is so ridiculously awesome that my brain kind of like shut off and I just like was not processing anything that was going on. So now without that happening, I need to like see it with a clear head and kind of make my decision. But it's definitely going to be up there.
Doug?
I think at the moment it's probably my favorite, and Tom Holland's probably my favorite Spider-Man. So, I don't know if I'm just flavor of the week right now because it's the newest thing, but like, I don't know. I went back and watched the first two Raimi Spider-Mans. Haven't gone back and watched any of the Amazing Spider-Man, but I don't remember any of the movies having as much fun as I had in this movie. And yeah, like I mentioned with the Aunt May stuff, like I mean, I teared up during that, and I don't think I've ever teared up during a Spider-Man movie before. So
yeah, that was done real well.
Yeah, and there's something about Tom Holland that I just really like as Peter Parker, and I like that. I think it's cool he does like he can do all the flips and stuff, and so they can actually show him his face on the body, and it's not like clearly a stunt double, and so yeah, I think Tom Holland is becoming my favorite Spider-Man.
Do you like this more than Spider-Verse, Doug?
No. Spider-Verse is perfect. This is like close to perfect, but not perfect.
Yeah, I said to Doug after I saw this, I think this is my favorite live action Spider-Man movie. Spider-Verse being better. But Tom Holland already solidified himself as my favorite Peter Spider-Man a while back. And he continues to elevate himself. What I was surprised was I thought Andrew Garfield was pretty fucking good in this one. So I'm interested to go back and watch and see if I was like too hard on him with those other two movies.
I love those movies. I still, more so the first one, but yeah, he's awesome as Peter.
He's a great actor, Garfield. I mean,
yeah,
He plays a great Peter Parker and Spidey. Better Spidey than Peter, but still really good.
And then overall, I would still say of any of the series, I would say Raimi's trilogy is still my favorite overall. Which I didn't ask you that question, but I thought of it in between when I'm like thinking of everything.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think as a series, my answer doesn't change. I still prefer the series.
Yeah. But we'll see what this next trilogy has to bring. My hope is that this next trilogy is my favorite of all of them. And I think
it's gonna be hard to top, though.
Yeah,
I mean, like Tom Holland said, like this is kind of like the end game of Spider-Man. Like,
and he was right. He was right.
How do you top that?
It's gonna be tough. You're gonna have to go more grounded and more low stakes. I mean, at this point, they have no choice. You just want as high stakes as you can get.
Yeah.
But we will see, as always. Anything else about Spider-Man? Post credits.
I was gonna say Venom.
Oh yeah, post credits.
Yeah. So we didn't get Sinister 6. We got Sinister 5.
There's technically 6 of them. Just Venom was hanging out in Mexico.
Yeah, Venom was chilling with Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso.
And then Feige was like, "Nope, we want the symbiote. We don't want what's his name?
Yeah, we don't want
Eddie Brock.
Eddie Brock. What did you think? I thought it was a cheat, a letdown, disappointing. Based on the way Venom Let There Be Carnage ended.
Yeah, it basically undid. Yeah, like they were like, we're gonna get you hyped for Venom being in the same universe as Spider-Man at the end of this movie. To me, that was the best part of the movie, where you're like, oh shit, they're gonna be together. And then this movie came along, and they're like, nope, not gonna happen.
Sorry, fuck you, bye.
Like we talked about yesterday, and Murph and I talked about before. Now it makes Morbius even more confusing with where the hell that takes place. Now that they did all this,
and I did hear there was an explanation on why like Venom with the hive mind was able to like get pulled into the universe of why he knew who Spider-Man was and that he was Peter Parker. I heard that's been explained, but then like Electro just doesn't make any sense because he didn't know that Spider-Man was Peter Parker.
Oh, he didn't. No, I don't remember Amazing Spider-Man 2. Oh yeah, he said I thought you were like a black dude. I thought you would
be black.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. That doesn't make any sense then. Oh man,
whatever.
Good point. Yeah, because I mean, if everyone knew Spider-Man, just everyone would have fucking appeared.
Yeah.
From the other universe. Interesting.
Plot hole.
But people explain the Venom one because of the hive mind and that.
Yeah, that I read
that he was Peter Parker.
Maybe because Electro dies, he finds out in the afterlife who Peter Parker was. Anything to just make it work. Anything to make it work.
But yeah, that disappointed me. Like, I want to see at this point, if it's gonna be Venom, like just give Tom Hardy like his moment. I mean,
he'll be fun. I mean, he's not fucking like a normal Venom, but
no, he's not.
Like, it would be fun to watch them in the same movie.
Yeah, it would be fun. I think they would be fun together.
I still think it's gonna happen. I just don't know like how it's going to happen.
As someone that thinks Venom is garbage, I don't want them in the same universe because I just want that Venom verse to die.
Those movies are such guilty pleasures. They're so not good, but for whatever reason, I enjoy them.
I don't understand how that movie,
especially the second one.
You throw that Tom Hardy Venom under Kevin Feige, and it would end up being fucking good.
Yeah,
probably,
yeah.
But they just have to like. It would not be anything like what it is right now,
unless he's like, I can't even make this good.
He's like, I can't do it.
Feels like
I'm back. I can't even fix this.
It kind of feels like that's what happened.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want any of this.
It kind of felt like that after credits, like Sony did without consulting Marvel, and then Marvel was like, not gonna happen. And then they just like got rid of them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, why else would you do that post credits just to be like,
I don't know.
The cock tease?
Yeah, basically just to get hype.
I mean,
both movies.
Who was it? Oh, it was Andy Serkis who he flat out said that they're going to meet at some point. I mean, again, it's Andy Serkis. It's not Feige saying this. But he's like, yeah, we have plans for them to meet. You know, it's not going to be anytime soon, but, you know, we're going to let it marinate a bit and it'll happen.
I
Yeah,
believe
Sony will
eventually
have to do
will.
their own thing probably for it to
Exactly.
happen.
It'll
Then.
happen in a Venom movie versus a Spider-Man movie.
It won't
Yeah.
happen on Feige's watch.
No, it's not going to happen in anything Marvel.
Yeah.
But we will get the symbiote because that stayed. So I wonder where that's going to go. I guess that's going to end up being one of the villains in the new trilogy now that I think about it. I'm sure he'll take control over someone, or maybe we'll get Black Suit Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't think I
We'll
don't
get
know.
I
emo
hope we don't
Spider-Man
get.
again.
I don't want to get that at
No.
all.
Yeah, I feel like we could skip on the Venom for a while.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But the fact that it's there means it probably will end up being a part.
Yeah.
At some point.
He'll take control of someone. Maybe
Rohan
Flash.
becomes.
Yeah. Right.
No, I thought Flash. Like, what's his name? Who plays Flash?
Symbiote is life.
Symbiote.
But it's in Mexico. Like, it's got to get back somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, did you watch the first two Venom movies? I mean, in the first one, he takes control of that woman, and she like walks like all the way to San Francisco, or whatever. So
I don't know. I
he'll
haven't
get
seen
there.
that movie all the way through.
Or maybe the symbiote knows, like, it still has that mind, that hive
Yeah,
mind.
the hive mind. Yeah.
So maybe it travels to the Eddie Brock of the MCU,
The Topher Grace.
who happens to be near Spider-Man in New York.
Yeah, yeah, because they haven't casted an Eddie Brock yet.
Yeah.
In this.
All right.
Not looking forward to that. So hope it doesn't happen.
I'll ring
right,
Feige and ask him. Tell him not to do it.
There you go. Anything else?
No, I think we're good. That's all I have to say about this.
All
I
right,
mean,
then.
I could talk for another probably like hour about this movie. But...
See, this is why we had to break it into two chunks, because we
Yeah.
knew it'd be a long conversation.
Yep.
It was a smart decision because
Doug would have been asleep.
This ended up being like a 2-hour conversation today, close to it.
Mm-hmm.
And we did like an hour yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is going.
We're like
as
old
one of the long
times.
Yeah, this is old liberated film.
This is what happens when we don't have JP. Go off on tangents.
Yeah, but that is all we have for today. So thank you again for listening to the three of us with JP out for now. During our next episode, I think we're going to be discussing our most anticipated films of 2022. Coming up later over the next month, we'll also do our draft for the spring box office. We'll talk about our favorite films of 2021 as well. There's still a bunch we want to catch up on, so until we do that, we'll hold off on that. But as always, this has been Corey, Doug, JP, and Murph. Even with JP not here, I am saying his name at Liberty Film. We'll see you again next time, movie lovers.
Bye.